Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bodier.
Present.
Councilman Chatelain.
Present.
Councilman Hewitt. Present. Councilman Landry.
Present.
Councilman Murray is absent. And Mayor Mosca.
Here.
Police Chief Walker.
Here.
Fire Chief St. Cyr. City Attorney Corsell.
Present.
All right, we have a special presentation from the chief, some awards.
Captain Adams? Yeah. Last month, we made a presentation to our reserve section, our unit citation for the amount of hours that they've put in since January of this year. It was over 1,250 hours, and it probably saved the city or the police department at least $25,000 in basic payroll expenses. Several of the reserve officers weren't present last month. They're here tonight. We'd like to award them with their unit citation. Sean Lombardi. Congratulations, thank you. Just want to take a picture with all of us. Officer Cedric Parmesano. Congratulations and thank you. Lieutenant Ted Ladner. I think everybody knows Lieutenant Ladner. Lieutenant Henry Kuhn. Thank you. Congratulations. Want to take a picture? You know, move up a little bit. I think he's still in the picture.
Lay down. Just lay down.
Thank you. Thank you.
What's it called? When you're in the picture, that's a photobomb.
Also, I'd like to mention, we got Halloween coming up. We just finished the Night Out Against Crime this past Tuesday. We had a terrific turnout, and I want to thank everybody for their participation and our department for their support and what they did to put it together. Mr. Mayor, October 31st, Halloween, we usually have the big event back in Imperial Woods, Stoneleigh, and Dosher. I understand you're going to have some porta potties there this year first?
Correct.
Okay. Also, we stating there'll be no motorized vehicles on Stoneleigh and Dosher when the streets are closed for public safety. Okay.
Does that include golf carts?
Yeah, anything motorized will not be allowed on Stoneleigh or Dosher during this time, other than, we have one we might be using for emergencies only, but other than that, there'll be no motorized units, gas or electric. Okay.
Councilman Landry, what'd you ask?
Pardon?
Golf carts.
Golf carts.
It's motorized.
What if we have a citizen trying to get, I mean, what are you gonna do about that?
Well, there's no.
I mean, what time are you closing? Do you know?
It's around dark,
Guess
which
depends on-
every year. And we never had a problem with the citizens getting into
Okay.
the house. That's not a problem. But as far as when the street's closed and the public's going on Stoneleigh and Dosher for Halloween, that's what we're concerned about.
I'm just saying it's a Friday evening. I
Right.
didn't know if they stop it, close the streets at 6 and somebody comes home at
No, we can work with the
6:15.
public that lives there. That's not gonna be a problem. It's just gonna be
Okay, I
people
just wanna
riding
make
up and
sure
down the street
they're
during
aware of that.
Halloween
They don't
night.
have to fight
Correct.
for a parking
Correct.
spot. You'll escort
We'll
them,
work with them
walk
with
with
that.
them to their home.
That's not a problem.
Thank you.
And also, we got the Corn Festival coming up the 7th, 8th, and 9th at St. Rita. I don't know if you're aware, there's a new state law about there's no smoking ban on school grounds, and we've been asked to enforce it. So just want to make that publicly known, that there'll be no smoking on the school grounds at St. Rita during the Corn Festival. So that might create a little problem, but we've been asked to enforce it. And Berg Street behind St. Rita will be closed during the festival. Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday while the
we
fair is
set
in
up for
operation.
smoking?
Pardon?
Berg Street will be set up for smoking?
It'll be closed.
Well, Chief, if somebody walks on Ray-Ban, though, they're going to be allowed to smoke, or y'all
Yes.
going to?
Pardon?
If
Yeah,
they
as long as
walk
up
on
to-
Ray-Ban?
I think it's actually 200 feet from the school.
Yeah,
As long as they're
that's
up
what I
to school
thought,
grounds,
yeah.
we'll be pleased with that. One last thing. A few weeks ago, we had the car burglary in Royland, and we made 3 arrests in regards to it. And the interesting part, when our investigators were speaking to these 3 subjects, why did you come to Harahan? And their quote to our investigators was, Harahan is easy pickings. I've asked many times, I'm asking again, please, it just takes a click of your remote to lock your doors, whether it's your house or your cars. These people know we have a lot to offer in Harahan, and we want to do what we can to keep them out of Harahan, but we need your help. Please lock it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we have a special presentation, the State of Harahan address, and we're going to call Todd St. Cyr up first. The reason we're doing this is because of the innuendo, rumors, and outright lies that are floating through the city of Harahan that concern the city right now. So sit back, relax, and take notes. Todd?
Good evening, Mayor, Council, citizens of Harahan. Todd St. Cyr, Fire Chief for the City of Harahan. I'm not going to give a State of the Union for the fire department. I think we all know the position that the fire department's in right now. We've taken a little bit of hit, just like everybody has in the city. We've had to tighten up our belts. We're working on that. We have been working on that with the mayor to see what we can do about that to get things straight. Hopefully that will continue in the future, and we'll be able to get back on our feet as we were before in the near future. I do, however, want to talk about the millage in the upcoming year. I believe it's going to be on the ballot in March.
Correct.
Has the amount of the millage been chosen yet? or-
We're going to do a renewal
A
of
renewal
5
of 5
mills,
mills?
Save them up.
assuming
So-
that the new mayor and council want to keep their fire department.
Right, correct. And if that would be the case, then we'd be happy to provide the service. If not, we'd be happy to go to work for someone else who will.
Chief, are y'all going to promote it like y'all did the first time? I mean, y'all
We-
really worked that campaign well.
Yeah, we worked the campaign. We also had the funding from a volunteer company at the time. Now, you do realize there is no volunteer company in Harahan any longer, so we don't have any funds. Any money that would come would have to come from the citizens as a donation to help us fund the campaign, or from the city itself to fund the campaign. You know, we put out signs and literature. I don't know, we're gonna have to sit down and talk about how we're gonna accomplish that this time. I know it won't be for a lack of working. You know, even without signs or letters to mail out, we'll knock doors and we'll make phone calls and get our message
That is a
out.
serious village for the fire.
It's a serious millage, and I think that was one of the things that the mayor wanted me to come up and make sure that I got the point across, that, you know, it's not a matter of if it passes, it has to pass. If this millage doesn't pass, we are gonna be in dire straits. In March. I mean, without that 200 and,
I would say it's 3.5.
well,
It's
yeah,
a 30-year
little more
budget.
now, right.
Yeah.
It is. It's up to, well, and it would be more than that if it renewed, because it would
Right.
renew at 5 mills, not 4 point
Right.
whatever.
30-year
So
budget.
without that in our budget, we are in serious trouble. I mean, the only place to go is layoffs. We have no fat in our budget for vehicle repair and maintenance. We have no vehicle repair and maintenance. Everything we've done this year is by the grace of the mayor approving, you know, even without the funding, approving us to get the trucks fixed. You know, there is no fat in our budget, so without that, the only place to go is employees, and God forbid that happen. So if anyone has any questions regarding the millage or the fire department, please give me a call at 737-9957 back at the firehouse, or you can call the mayor. The mayor would be happy to have you come in and meet with us here at City Hall. Be happy to kind of go over where we are and what we're doing and why we need to renew this millage.
Also, I'm going to, before the end of the year, before my term ends, I'm going to contact Paul Johnson, the parish council person, and request some funding from him. I'm certain he'll help us with that.
We would most certainly appreciate that.
Right.
We could use it.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Your fire trucks right now, all of them operating?
No,
You have one down?
I have one down. I have a reserve truck down, and one of my frontline trucks is 17 years old, and it's starting to have a few issues. We've been able to
That's
keep
the
them
one we've been
going.
working on in-house.
That's right. We've been trying to do as much as we can.
Right, and what the millage does, these vehicles, the loan on those end this year.
Next year.
Next year.
Next year.
Next year, but it's
Which
perfect
means
timing.
all of our vehicles will be paid off. But with the new millage, with the renewal, we can go back out and renew with more,
I hope to put
better
a truck
trucks.
out on bid before the end of this year, because the whole process starts at least a year and several months in advance of actually receiving the truck. So if I put a truck out for bid by the end of this year, by the time we would receive it, it would be the end of next year or beginning of the year, and we wouldn't have to pay until the following year anyway. Well, our
And
first payment
here-
wouldn't be due, so.
To your knowledge, during my administration, we have never gotten a vehicle without proper bidding, right?
Oh, absolutely not. We've
right,
always
thank
put
you.
everything out to bid.
The last truck we purchased?
We have followed, not just with vehicles, we have followed the bid law to the T on every major purchase that we have made.
Now, I may have asked you and your men to fix some things on your own. I
Absolutely.
haven't put that out for bid, but thank God they had some mechanics over there who helped
Absolutely.
fix these trucks.
No, we've done what we've had to do to survive, and it's what
Right.
we do in a small town. We've always done it, and we'll continue to do it.
All right,
So,
thank you.
Last truck you purchased was a frame, a truck and chassis?
Correct,
They took the old body, put it on there?
correct. That's correct, and that is our rescue squad.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So
Thank
Todd,
you.
just one more thing so the
Yes.
citizens know. Your budget for 2014 was 974,000. And if we renew this mill, 5 mills in March,
Right.
that will give you somewhere around 350,000 to
It
go
would-
towards your budget. So I just want the citizens to understand that you have a $974,000
And-
budget.
and
This is
without
a
that, it would be
third of it.
six.
Without
Right.
that, it'll be 6.
Right, so, and there's no, I mean, the council will tell you, there's no fat in our budget.
Nobody's stealing, right?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Get the bucket brigade.
I'd like to get that out to the public because the rumors are rampant.
All right.
you.
Good enough, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Mr. Meyer. Now, what do you do for the city? What are your credentials?
I am the city engineer. I'm a professional engineer by trade.
But what are your credentials?
My credentials, huh?
Why would we pick you?
Well, let's see. We've been drainage experts for Drainage District Number 9 since the 80s, the mid-80s.
And you've drawn up all the drainage for the parish of Jefferson, haven't you?
The drainage for the city of Mandeville, for the town of Lafitte, West Wego. I
Pump to
wouldn't
the
say
river?
all of the drainage, but a good bit of the drainage.
Mostly all the canals in Harahan.
Yep, most of the canals in Harahan. Currently, we have Masway Ditch going on, which the last phase of Masway Ditch, which connects the concrete box culvert to Seafood Ditch, is going to bid next month, and that's about $2.5 million.
Rick, why don't you say who your name is and what company you're with?
Rick Meyer with Meyer Engineers, and we've been the city engineers for Harahan for a while, and
Now, as city engineer, I hate to put you on the spot, but I want to be transparent. We pay you, what, $350 a month, $150 a month? What do we?
I think the retainer is something
Like
nominal.
$350 a month,
Yeah,
right?
if it's that much, 150.
$150 a month.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, we do pay for the work you do aside
Yeah,
from
that's
that.
separately, and we use,
But I don't know of any other engineer that's going to work for $150 a month with
Well,
your credentials.
well, I live right around the corner, so it's
You've been a
little
blessing
easier.
to us.
But we, like I said, the drainage for the Masway Ditch is going to be bid, the last phase of it's going to be bid, and when that is extended, that's going to help drain Seafood Ditch, and it's going to drain Colonial, it's going to drain Donellan and McHugh as that water comes across. It's going to lower all the water.
Now, stop right there, because Mr. Thompson's in the audience, and there's always these complaints about McHugh and Donlin. But am I not correct? The pump to the river will have some effect on those streets, some
Oh,
effect.
yeah, definitely have effect on those.
And the major problem with those streets is the culvert underneath the highway, getting the water out, right?
Correct, in
But
multiple
that's the
locations.
state's responsibility, is it not?
That's state funding, right.
Now, we've applied as a city for capital outlay to try and remedy that, but we've never got funded.
Right, and that's through our state legislature. We'll have the state senators and state representatives will have to help us with that. They've been successful in the past, but not funding the highway crossings, but funding Magnolia, drainage on Magnolia, drainage on Penfold.
And we've got recently 2 grants for Magnolia and West Magnolia, I think, right?
Yeah, and Penfold.
Penfield, right? Okay, but explain more about Donlin and McHugh, because there's always flooding there. I know Mr. Thompson's always worried about that. And, you know, what can we do? You know, everyone says, you know, you never fix anything. You never fix it. What's
Well,
the
we-
fix for that, other than the culverts underneath the highway?
It's the culverts underneath the highway and improvements to getting the water to the Masway ditch. Now, Seafood Ditch, a number of years ago, was upgraded, and the pipes have been enlarged, but the Masway and the pump to the river is gonna have a significant impact on that area.
And explain the
information,
pump to
where
the
is the Masway?
river theory.
I'm sorry.
Explain that theory.
You didn't tell them where the ditches are so people would know. Like,
Yeah,
where is the
explain
Masway?
it.
Yeah, Masway Ditch is on the border between the city limits of Harahan and River Ridge.
So Winn-Dixie.
Yeah, Winn-Dixie. So it's right, it runs Winn-Dixie, and it's a major concrete open culvert that runs straight to pump to the Soniac Canal and to the pump to the river.
And the one they just finished that goes to Jefferson Highway by Penfold, what was that about? You remember, Edwin, what's that? The one they just finished, they put the box around it? Off of Jefferson Highway.
Between Wainwright.
You showed it to me the other day.
Yeah, the one at, right here by Winn-Dixie.
No, no.
Yeah.
This was
It's about by
By
Wainwright,
Penfold and
Wainwright?
Yeah. They were out there 3 or 4
one
days.
they're covering up.
Aaron Court.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what that
Aaron
is?
Court, no, I don't remember, I don't know what
The
that is.
parish paid for that.
Covered it.
DOTD
They
state.
put a pipe in on Woodland Ditch, running all the way back to Harahan Oaks with a ties into
The Seafood Ditch, so
Ties in
that's,
the sea.
And they covered it up?
Where's Seafood Ditch?
It used to be open.
Right.
Okay.
okay, I didn't know that.
But the pump to the river, previously, all of our water drained to Lake Pontchartrain, correct?
Correct. It still does today.
Right. Now with the pump to the river, our water's gonna drain to the Mississippi River.
A good bit of it's gonna drain to the Mississippi River, but it will still be able to drain to Lake Pontchartrain.
Right.
So we'll
So-
have two outlets
Right,
instead of
so-
one.
Will it alleviate some of the backup that was caused by the water getting to the lake?
Yes, it'll alleviate, everything on top of the Sonia Canal is gonna be removed, where we still have a restriction right there where the cross canal comes in at the Sonia Canal right by Paradise Manor, right between the tracks and Paradise Manor. And there's been some modifications and modeling done to try to change that confluence, but the pump to the river is gonna have a significant positive impact.
And what about, you were involved with the study of the Colonial Club project, right?
Well, we
As far as
did-
drainage.
As far as drainage is, we reviewed any proposals that were submitted. There hasn't been anything submitted to us in, I don't know how long, 3 or 4 months since our last public hearing. But we had done some studies and pump stations. We did a pump station study to put a pump station at Colonial Club, Drive, but we couldn't find the funding for that.
Okay. Before anything's done additionally to Colonial, part of the process would be you would have to approve the drainage.
Absolutely. And then we would make a recommendation to you, to the mayor and the council.
Do you just go out there with some binoculars and approve it, or do you go with a bunch of people
No,
that do
there's
some?
We have some, you have ordinance in place and standards, and we follow those, and their developers, engineer designs it, and then we would review it and recommend.
And the goal of your work would be to try and alleviate any flooding, right?
Absolutely.
Not only to that parcel, but to the abutting neighbors,
To-
say on
absolutely.
Glenwood, Colonial Club, McHugh, Donlin, whatever.
Correct.
Because it serves no useful purpose to flood our citizens out, right?
No, right.
We could
And I
be
don't want to
sued for
stand
that.
up, and I don't want to stand up at a meeting and tell you about it either.
Right, okay. Anything, all right, tell us a little bit about the $4 million loan that we've already received. There's some
Well, that's what I-
literature out there that I guess people don't understand. It took us 2.5 years to get a $4 million low-interest loan under 1% for 20 years with the first 2 years of interest forgiven, with an additional $200,000 to $300,000 in the event we need it. We went through a horrendous process of paperwork You were involved in that, right?
Correct, with DEQ in the state.
And
right.
to get the loan, and then what we needed was the approval of the governor.
Correct, and that loan was closed in February of this year.
All right. So favorably to us, we have the money. We just requested a part of it, I think it was 123,000
About 150,000,
for some minor work right now.
right.
Okay. And you have to oversee, before we get one penny of that, before I can steal this money, according to my sayers, you have to approve it, right?
Not only me, but DEQ has to approve it also.
Right. So it goes through another bureaucratic process of paperwork for us to get the money.
Correct. What we
And that
do-
includes public bidding?
Yes, sir. What
Now,
we've done,
Can the mayor shortcut that without any bidding?
not that I know of.
Can't do it.
Correct.
Unless you want to go to jail.
All right.
So what has happened is Blue Flash Sewer Services right here in Harahan has completed about 71,000 linear feet of cleaning and videoing lines, and they've smoke tested about 64,000 feet. They have another about 80,000 linear feet of sewer line in the city to go through and assess. And of the 71,000, we have identified about 150,000, like the mayor's saying, of repairs that need to be made. Point repairs, sewer line replacements, cleaning, and the Ames Group Engineering Company is preparing those plans and specs right now. And those projects, they have just finished the plans. In fact, we're doing a review to make sure that they're in accordance with state requirements.
Whatever's done on this project because of the requirements of the loan, you have to review.
We review and recommend.
All right. Now, once we get the data in, I meet with you, with Edwin, Mr. Ferrera,
The other engineer,
the other engineers, Mr. Chatelain, and we basically rank, using your criteria, where the important areas are.
correct.
And then we go about fixing those.
Correct. And we'll probably have 4 or 5 bid packages. We're gonna do them in steps, and we're gonna do them as part of the priority.
So it would take probably another 2 to 2.5 years for us to complete this project, right?
I think so.
All right. And like I say, the money is booked for us. It's in a bank account for us to draw from
Correct.
after we go through a bureaucratic process.
Right, every time we identify a project and we come up with a bid package of 150, 200, whatever it may be, then we submit it to DEQ. DEQ reviews it, approves it, gives it back to us and says, okay, you can go bid that project.
Now, I don't know, I'm gonna refresh your memory, maybe you can recall. When I first took office, our city was under a DEQ, EPA compliance order. You recall that?
Yes, sir.
Now, what that means is that the federal government was looking at Harahan and its sewer system for illegal discharges. Not caused by me individually or any elected official, just things that happen. And in fact, they had summoned me to Dallas, Texas on 2 occasions. I had to go before the EPA to plead our case. Now, that order was involved for almost 18 months. It's called a compliance order. And at the end of 18 months, they gave us the green light. We were all right to go ahead and keep doing what we're doing. But the federal government regulates these things also, as well as DEQ.
That's correct.
Right, so we
And then
can't
you had to
screw
go
up.
find the money. So after you met with EPA, then you had to figure out how to fund the improvements. And
Right.
that's how you determine to go after this DEQ loan.
Correct. All right, any other thing that you need to say?
No, I kind of update you.
What about that project on, this Mayor's on West and Marquette? It's a sinkhole, right? That's the next thing. You're in the process right now of getting funding for that, from the loan.
Yeah, we're going to do a project at Gordon in 7th and Ashland in 7th, Ashland in 6th, Weston, Marquette, and McHugh and Lancashire. And
Great.
that's where the first parts of the project are going to go. And there's various things like removing and repairing the 8-inch gravity lines, fixing manholes, all those things that cause inflow and infiltration to the sewer system that overloads the sewer treatment plant.
Right. And you and all the council members and myself were clearly aware of the problems on Donlin and McHugh. You know, we're optimistic we're going to be able to address those before your lifetime is over. Right?
Yeah, we are.
Anything else?
Mayor, I just wanted to add that the $4 million loan, we are looking at the reports as they come in, as the smoke testing is done, and we're prioritizing what projects we should use that money for, because we know the $4 million can't fix all of our issues. So we're taking that money, we're looking at the reports, and we're going to prioritize so that we use the money appropriately for the things that we know we need to fix now, and that are the priority, right?
Right, to get the biggest bang for our
Yeah.
buck.
And that money can only be used for sewer, like the drainage problem on McHugh, and that
Right.
money cannot be used for that. That's
That's
all, just
correct.
so y'all understand. Strictly for sewer use.
Anybody else?
Could you just tell us where the ditches are again? They got Mazway ditch on Dixie. Where is
Mazway-
crawfish ditch or
Seafood ditch, seafood ditch,
Is that the one that
it's a,
runs?
it starts about at the middle of the Winn-Dixie parking lot and goes towards Imperial Woods, and then it goes behind Imperial
So
Woods.
it runs east and west?
Yeah.
It goes behind Melbourne, correct?
Melbourne-
That's where it comes
Melbourne.
from.
Melbourne, and it comes up to the highway. It drains all of Imperial Woods, and it drains Jefferson Highway, and it's one of the major outfalls for Columbia.
Does
that
that
all
one come up
goes-
between the Breakfast Club and Charlie Seafood?
Uh,
I think that's the servitude right
I
there.
don't remember. Is that where it is, Carlo? Between the
That's the-
Breakfast Club and Charlie Seafood?
Yes. Seafood ditch.
And the one next to Aaron Court, that's all part of the same, that's part
Yeah,
of seafood?
and all that drains into the
And
seafood.
then it all goes to Soniac Canal?
Goes to Mazway and then goes to Soniac
So when
Canal.
so the Soniac Canal is going to get full, and then the Pump the River's going to pull it from the Soniac Canal? Or it's
Correct.
going to be pumping all the time, it's just when the Soniac gets full?
Yeah,
right?
it has to, it's gonna have to get some water in it before they can start pulling it. But what the parish drainage department does is, if there is an impending, a pending storm, what they'll do is try to pull the canals down to give it some extra storage capacity. But they don't always like to do that because it impacts the water table. So you wouldn't want to just dry it out, because then, you might start to get settlement around the canals. So you leave it up, and then if there's a storm pending, then you pull it down.
So we won't have the lag wait time like we do for the lake?
Right,
'Cause,
you
I
won't
mean,
have it nearly as much.
People always
time.
say you don't turn the pumps on, you don't turn the pumps on, and I always say, well, number one, do you think in today's age that someone's actually flipping a switch back there, which is not happening?
That's not
And if there was, why would he not turn it on?
Well,
I know they'd have to
not
get
only
filled
that,
up. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is Harahan gets hammered and nobody else does. And then it's
Jefferson
gonna go
Parish
away.
has a sophisticated SCADA system, and when it rains, everybody not everybody, the elected officials, I don't know if Harahan, but Jefferson Parish elected officials, the parish president, the drainage directors, they can all get on their phone and look and see if the pumps are on or not. If it's not on, somebody picks the phone up and calls the director.
There's nobody
and
out there
says-
flipping switches, though.
Right.
We don't have them at City Hall. We get calls about that.
Yeah, a lot of people call City Hall and ask us to turn them on.
Turn the pumps on.
I say, thank you.
But they have to be halfway filled up before they even turn on, right, for
Some-
lubrication?
yeah.
So if we get hammered and nobody else does, Metro nobody does, the water has to go 7 miles till it gets to the pump. And then, that's why all of a sudden when it starts draining, it's like a bathtub. It goes
Correct.
down quick.
Correct.
Now, will that same thing happen with Pump to the River? Or will we be able to pick up?
It's
Pump to the
gonna be a
River
lot
before?
shorter.
Yeah, it's like,
It's gonna be a shorter lag time, so it's gonna be removed quicker. That's a big pump station. I know
I
everybody
think it's
sees it.
huge.
I
What
mean,
kind of
it's-
dollars do you think is spent on something
I
like
don't,
that?
I don't
I mean, I know it's got to
remember
be in
what
the
it was.
billions.
That wasn't our project, but I know
It
it's.
is it is
It
unbelievable.
might be close to 100.
100 billion? You
No,
think?
no,
100
million.
Oh, million.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much it is, but it's,
It is unbelievable.
You did write materials, booklets for Jefferson Parish for the whole drainage of Jefferson Parish, right?
River Ridge.
Yeah, I think one was like about 500 pages.
Oh, yeah, we've done a number of master drainage plans.
Right, for the parish.
Oh, for Jefferson Parish, yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Meyer, I have one last question. I had a resident call me this afternoon, and I stopped there on the way to the council meeting, lives on Kenmore. And I talked to Mr. Carlo, and he's been there, and our departments have been here at his house to try and fix some sinkhole issues. Will any of this money be used to fix those type of repairs that are happening throughout our city? The gentleman said he couldn't come to the meeting tonight, and he wanted to watch it on Monday, and he just requested that I talk about that.
Sure, just give us his
That's a
address.
good question, because if the sewer pipe collapses, and then the sinkhole is caused by that.
Oh, yeah,
we can-
then
That's
it-
part of it,
Now,
right?
Mr. Carlo said we haven't gotten to Kenmore or to that area yet, but we plan to. I just didn't know if that money will help fix that
If
type
it's
of
relative
situation.
to a sewer line, it can be fixed. It will be fixed. If it's relative to a sewer line, if it's a drainage issue, like Councilman Chatelain said, you can't use it for
Yeah.
drainage, but you can use it for sewer and the repairs of this roads or anything associated with the sewer. It can be.
That's a good question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Edwin? Edwin Lauricella is our maintenance director. I invite any citizen of the city of Harahan or any candidate who's running for office to call him up, and he'll let you ride with him for half a day, see what he does. Quite an experience, quite an experience. You need to take advantage of that. You can even ride for the whole day with him. Edwin, do the booklet first. What is that?
Oh, I have my MS4 permit. This is my drainage log that I keep.
Let's go through that.
Well,
Let's,
quite
everything
extensive.
for this
Just
year.
the highlights of it.
Everything for this year, Edwin.
everything,
Please,
everything, okay.
start with January 1st.
Let me get to January. We got to backtrack. Well,
And what do
we
you
go
keep
from-
that log for?
I keep this for our MS4 permitting, which we have a meeting with.
What's an
Jefferson
MS4
County.
permit?
Let's say what it is.
Well, the MS4 is more or less our drainage overlay for the whole parish.
It's
But-
like with DEQ or?
Yeah, no, it's not DEQ, this is with environmental, but it's.
Oh, environmental.
Yes.
Okay.
In other words, no oils and things like that, but I have to keep a repair log of anything that we do, as far as cleaning, flushing, any kind of problem that we have, if we do a repair.
All right, let's go through that.
Okay, well, I'm gonna start on 9/13, is it?
Let's start on 114.
Okay, let's do that then. Yeah. 114. Let me go back. Where am I at here? 3, 2, 1. Got it. City of Harahan, we have a FMC flush machine that you see every once in a while running around. We can break a clog, but we can't get everything out the pipes. But we'll do, if there's a problem in a line, we'll come out and we'll flush this thing with a hose that retrieve about 150 feet long and flush it.
Now, people
break
can
the-
call
break the clog.
maintenance and ask for the flush machine to go out there?
Not really. Most of the time when during an event that we have, a rain event or something like that, we'll drive the streets. A lot of times people will call us when there is a problem and we'll go out and we'll clear the drain. At 227, we use the flush machine for the city of Harahan. And we also did it, we had at 226, we had a rain event. We cleaned and checked all drains. We drive the city, make sure they're clear. 224, we had Jefferson Highway to Colonial Club, ditch filled with debris. We cleared the ditch. 145, Sedgefield, we had a sinkhole. We added some sand. It was on a drain pipe. We just explored it, tried to figure out what was going on with it. Seemed that it might have had a crack or something like that, but we put a patch on it and backfilled. 130 Sedgefield, the same thing. We had a sinkhole. We had also add on to this, like our pump to the river, pre-construction meetings and things like that. Is that me?
It's you, Mayor. If that one touches that one.
42114, same thing, we flush drains. 317, Corps of Engineers. We closed the street for the Corps inlet, for the inlet basin. Yeah. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Halsey Drive, we dug a ditch, we cleaned that ditch in the basin. It wasn't draining. We dug the ditch to the basin and cleared it. At 3:12, we had a meeting with the Corps of Engineers, Woodman Materials, about sand in the drains on Riverside Drive in that area. 3:11, we had a rain event, which we went out and cleared drains. 5:15 on Huntley, street work drainage, replace asphalt when we did that work. Well, I count all that too. Anytime we do street work, because it is part of the drainage system. And, on Anthony Street, we did a repair line on 424, 423. What was this? Moving force main for sewers, so we had to keep track of that. 611 on Ashlawn, we had a sinking, was it sinkhole? I called JP Drainage Department. At 6-9, 347 Hickory, we had a ditch full of branches. We cleared that. On 6-4 on Tyler Street, curving. Removed the curving to be replaced. And then 600 block of Hickory, we had trash in the ditch. 144 Oakland, 52214. We had a drain cover broken, we repaired it. 52114 Elena Jefferson Highway, sinkhole, slow drains. 520 Kendall and Landry, drains, we asphalt overlay on aprons to drains. We had 519 Berg Street, Flush Street. 71114 Oak Street, draining damage, we repaired it. 71014 Folsom Jefferson Highway, cleared the drains there. 7814 on 272 Anthony, we deployed the, that was Fleming Construction. We started work on a sewer rehab in that area. Malvern drain stopped up, cleared. Then we had a rain event on 623, so we cleared drains then. 61914 on Franklin, we had a broken drain there again. 617 is 6th and Gordon, manhole cover was low, so we raised it. 731, 701 Roseland, drain stopped up, we cleared it. 72914 Huntley Street, started drainage work, cut cement and asphalt. 723, let's see, cleared drain behind City Hall. 722, 50 Berkeley, stopped up drain, flushed it. 722 again, 966 Oak, drain lid broke, replaced lid. Hebe in the lane, drain broke, we repaired the drain and replaced the pipe. 900 Hickory, a drain pipe, we replaced the pipe. That's at 717, 716 Ashlawn, the drains were cleaned and flushed. 72914 on West Magnolia, replaced pipe, approximately 60 foot. 722 West Magnolia, started drainage, removed the tree that was giving us a problem. That was the work we just did with Meyer. 82214, Ren Pass drain stopped up, cleaned and flushed. 81414, Wilson and Kenmore, missing manhole cover. We found the manhole cover. 87 Hickory and Riverside, sinkhole in the street, reported to the Jefferson Parish Drainage Department, which they finally came out and repaired. 8514 Huntley, repaired asphalt, cleaned up street. And also there, cement work. Let's see, 915 on Grove, we had a broken curb. We fixed the curb on that. And 914, Colonial Club Drive drains clogged, and we flushed it. That's as far as I got on this.
All right, now in the year 2013, from your records, it appears that we did 9 sewer-related repairs involving sinkholes, correct?
Yes.
All right, go to 2014, in the sheet you have.
Yes, I got it.
There's not too many of those. Why don't you list those?
No. Let's see how far we go back on that. these are large repairs.
Wilson?
Yeah, we had one on Woodward Ditch, that pipe damaged on, at 3-6. 310, we had sidewalk repair on Imperial Woods. 7-8-14, sewer repair on Anthony. We had Fleming do the work. 721, drainage repair on West Magnolia, that was pipe works. 729, drainage repair on Huntley. 7-7, we had, oh no, that was something else we did.
We had Jefferson Highway.
Yes, we did Jefferson
And,
Highway. We did install, at 7:30, we installed on Wilson Street at Bob Shield. We did some work there. No, this is 13. I'm looking at the
now
wrong.
we repaired some sidewalks, right?
Yes, we did.
One of them was for Miss Maselli, right?
Right.
All right. What about, what else you got there you can tell us about?
As far as our street repair, we did some, we did Huntley, Randolph, and we did 4 streets all total, as far as mill and replace. First part of this year, Mayor.
Now, what time we meet in the morning?
7 o'clock.
What time you meet me?
7:30.
I don't meet you at 7, man.
No,
Meet you at
7:30.
7:30?
Yes.
And then what time we meet in the afternoon?
About 2:30.
Now, at 7:30, what do we discuss?
Usually the game plan for the day, what you'd like done, what we need to have done, and I usually tell you our problems, and you tell me what you want done.
Now, 2:30, we meet again.
Yes, sir.
I usually take you for a cup of coffee and a donut.
Yes.
The city pays for that, or I do?
No, you pay for that.
Thank you, thank you. And anything else you need to say?
What you need? Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, we do a lot of in-house stuff. We've been doing it since we got a new truck from Councilman Johnson gave us a new truck, so we can actually go get hot mix. Well, it wasn't new, it was used. It was new to us. But, yeah, we've been able to do some hot patch
And,
mix, repair work on the street.
bear with me, Edwin. We had some interesting chiefs of police, all great guys. The first one, we put in some cabinets for him, right?
Yes, we did.
The second guy came in, he said, take them out, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The third guy came in, he said, put them back in,
Put 'em
right?
back in.
Okay.
Yeah.
We
Yeah, we
do
not
things for
only-
the police, fire. Oh, what about recreation?
Same thing, but we usually put up the chairs, tables.
For the
anything
seniors?
like- Yeah, for the
Yeah.
senior center, and, we don't just do drainage and streets and things like that. We do repair work, the lights, ballast.
How many men we got in maintenance?
We have 4 full-time, 5 full-time, 1 part-time.
And the one part-time, does he cut grass or something?
Yes. Well, he's an operator too. He's retired from the levee board, and he has a CDL license. He can drive a truck for us. That we can't, I can't.
And the other 5, every day you assign a different spot,
Yes.
different place.
Yeah.
How many trucks we got?
We got 3.
They all run, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Anything else?
That's it. It's, I mean, we do a lot as far as little things. A lot of people don't understand. We put out the garbage cans when they get broken. Anytime somebody gets a dead cat in your road, they call us. Yeah,
What about bees?
bees. We get called for bees.
Garbage cans.
Garbage, yeah, we get a lot of weird
Recycle
calls,
bins.
yeah.
And,
You help out the gym a lot too, don't you?
And we do a
The
lot of
gym?
work at the gym, yeah,
your phone rings all the time.
all the time. If it's not from a citizen or you, it's from Carlo or, you know, Mr. Carlo always calls.
Now, tell the truth, he calls you more than I do, right?
Yes, sir,
All
he
right.
does.
Mr. Edwin, can I ask you one quick question? Someone asked me the other night why the citizens of Harahan have to drive to David Drive in Jefferson to dump extra things.
Garbage?
Yeah, some extra things other than regular garbage.
If they're a
And
citizen of
I had
Harahan-
explained that there's a truck that comes through the city once a week,
Once a
and
week,
if
we
you could
have a
elaborate on
garbage-
that?
Right, trash pickup, it's usually once a week. They'll pick it up the first pickup of the week.
Additional items other than regular
Additional
trash?
items, if you put limbs out or something like where they can handle it. Now, if it's a large mound of limbs, if they call City Hall, we'll put it on a list, and they'll come out with, they call a knuckle boom and
Right.
pick it up.
Okay.
A lot of the times, they call us, you know, for small things like that, we can pick it up.
Okay. I just want to make sure I said it right.
You know, We always say, we don't say no, ever.
If the
Thank you.
citizen, if the citizen cuts the tree and puts it on the street, we normally have it picked up. If they hire someone to cut the tree,
They gotta have
it's
it.
not our responsibility to pick it up.
Right. If you call a tree service, and we've had tree jackals that come into the city, and they'll tell people, look, we'll cut your tree real cheap, but they'll stack it in front of the house. That's not right, it's gonna put it on us, and every time we send a knuckle boom, it costs us a few dollars to do that.
I think Harahan has to pay to
Yeah.
go to
Well, you
Davis
gotta
Drive.
pay
We
for
can't,
that.
Yeah.
So, you know, one way or the other, it's not right. We should be having the contractor, your contractor. I drove nails for a living, I know. You don't leave a job site and leave garbage laying on the ground. Never happened.
And that's the same with construction material as well.
Anything, yeah.
The
If you're
contractor's
building
saying-
a house and you're not gonna call the city to come pick up your disposed of lumber. No.
Now, our policy with political signs is if they're not where they're supposed to be, we pick them up, bring them back to maintenance.
Right.
And
We
you can
don't
pick
throw
them up
away.
there.
If they're in the wrong spot, we'll pick them up, and only at your order.
But
I haven't touched the sign unless you tell me.
I haven't asked you to, right?
Right, right. No, we don't touch signs unless the mayor tells me or I'm directed otherwise. But if we do pick them up, we don't throw them away. We'll bring them back by me and put them off to the side and they can come pick them up.
All right, thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Mayor? Mr. Ferrer, as everyone knows, used to be a former mayor of Harahan, and I don't know if anybody else has more knowledge about the city than he does. I know Mr. Baracco did, but unfortunately he passed away, and probably Mr. Baracco and Mr. Ferrer were head and head with knowledge.
Thank you, Mayor, for those kind remarks.
And I will say this too, I know Mr. Mayor Ferrer and Councilman Paul Johnson, they associate, they're associates. They have coffee maybe 3 or 4 times a week, which is a benefit to the city, because for the most part, I am unable to go to the coffee, so I relay to Mayor Ferrera, he relays to Councilman Johnson, and it's done.
And I have to pay for the coffee. Because we were always bumming and begging him for something, and Edwin hit on it very lightly. Let me tell you, if it wasn't for Councilman Johnston taking care of the city of Harahan, we'd have some bigger problems than we already
No
have.
doubt.
For instance, that truck that Edwin talked about, it was a used truck. He got it for us. It's a good truck.
Right.
We're able now to go all the way to Luling to pick up hot mix to repair the streets. We're doing more work in-house right now on street repairs than ever been done due
Right.
to the fact that we can go pick up hot mix. If you put cold mix in the hole, it lasts us 6 months and you're right back. So if we do the hot mix, it lasts a
Now,
lot
when
longer.
it's a bigger project, you and I discuss it, we take him to lunch.
Oh,
We
yeah.
pay for that too.
Well, for the next project, some other equipment I think he's going to try to get for us, we'll have to take him to lunch.
Maybe dinner.
If he produces this new equipment for us, we'll have to take him to lunch. Just to explain to people, I mostly do the surge work and contracts and other things that come along. Our surge system has 2 components to it. We have the collection system and we have the treatment plant in the back. We also have 14 lift stations all around the city. Our system isn't like the water system that's under pressure or the gas system that's under pressure. Ours is what they call a gravity system. That's why we have the 14 lift stations. We'll start at lift station number 1, it goes to gravity to lift station number 2, lift station number 2 picks it up, sends it to 3, until we make the complete circle of going through the whole 14 stations. When it gets to the last station, which is at Grove and 9th Street, now, it's under pressure from there. We pump it under pressure with 3 pumps in that lift station that goes directly to the treatment plant. Like I said before, it's not under pressure. That's a problem that we have. Because if you have a gas leak, you're either going to smell it or you're going to know it's there. If it's a water leak, the water comes up through the ground and you can see it. Sewage is much like cancer. You don't know you have a problem with it until it's almost too late. And when we say that, I'm talking about sinkholes in the street. Once we see a sinkhole, we mark it, we measure it, we keep an eye on it. And rest assured, if it start off a little sinkhole about the size of a plate, within a year, it's going to be a problem to us. Because what happens, either the sewer line is cracked under it, it's completely destroyed, it causes a void under the street because the sand sucks into that sewer line, it causes a void under the street, and the street starts sinking. And our pipes are much like your dinner plate at your home. If you take a dinner plate, put it on the floor, face up, and you step in the middle of it, probably not going to break. But if you turn it upside down, now you have a void on it and you step on it, it's going to break. And these sewer lines are like that. And you have to realize our sewer system is 50-some odd years old. That was the best pipe they could use at the time. It's clay pipe. It's very brittle, like I said, like a plate. And they break. Roots get in all the joints, because when they put them in, they're using 6 to 8 foot lengths of pipe, and everyone has a joint, and the roots will find it. I mean, the roots love to get the surge. I mean, they get all the good nutrition they want, and those tree roots will get in there, and then when they start growing, you flush your toilet, paper hangs up in it, waste matter hangs up in it, and all of a sudden, we have a blockage, and that's what Edmund was talking about. Then we go out there and we try to unstop it. If we can't, we have a very good company that works with us, Blue Flash. They'll have to send their big flush machine out to flush it out. Our pumps, and some of these things I may say now, you may not realize why I'm saying them until I give the rest of the presentation. Our pumps that pump the sewage work much like your blender in your home. Now, take your blender, put in some paper towels, put in half a jar of peanut butter, grab a handful of string and put in there, turn it on. It'll probably run for about a minute, and then it's going to stop running. And then the motor's going to burn up. Now, I know that doesn't sound reasonable until you hear what else I have to say. Another culprit that we have, other than the roots and the clay pipe breaking, is disposable diapers. You would not believe how many disposable diapers that get into our pumps. Just like I told you about the blender, it'll clog up because you have the string and the paper and all in there. That's exactly what happens. Now, that doesn't sound like it's a big deal, but you have to realize when we change a pump 6 to 8 feet in the ground, in a hole about 4 foot around, we have to come out there with a truck. Thanks again to Councilman Johnson. We have that new truck with a boom on it that we can pull the pumps out ourselves rather than calling a company to come pull the pumps out. Charges like $700, $800 to come out and $600, $700, $800 to put it back in. We pull the pump ourselves, send it to the shop, and get repaired. I prepared a packet like this. I left some on the pews so people can look at them. Also, each one of the councilmen and the mayor has a copy of this, and I like to run through this so the councilman will understand what we're doing. The public can understand what we're doing. The first page that you see there, y'all have it?
Yes.
Right there. That's a sewer line. That's all gravel.
Show the camera too.
Sir?
Show the camera.
Can you zoom on that?
All right. Yeah, that's a sewage line. It's completely blocked up with gravel. Now, where did the gravel come from? Right, you have to realize this is probably 6 foot underground. It's on the corner of Harold's and West Magnolia. The waterworks had been out there about 5 months before this to do a repair, change out a valve. It was a major job, right above our sewage line. When Blue Flash is, what they doing now, because the mayor hired them to do the complete city, they flushing all the lines, they smoke testing, they doing everything. They discovered this the other day. So that's one of the problems. Now we have to address that problem. When,
How far does that go? I mean, is that?
we
20, 30
don't know
feet?
yet, because they can't get the
Can't get
camera
through
through
it.
it. They can't get the camera all the way
We
through.
don't know what's on the other side. They have a feeling it might be broken upstream. It might be broken. I hope not.
Also, on the cost-saving side, when Councilman Johnson was mayor, he instituted a program with Veolia Water that runs our wastewater treatment plant for them to bring in treated, non-hazardous water to our plant. They put it into our plant. It doesn't bother our plant. We don't have to treat it. We put it right into the final tank, and we pump that to the river also. The best part about that, it accumulates a lot of dollars, because they pay us for us. They accumulate a lot of dollars over a year's time that we help defray the cost of what Veolia Water charges us to run our plant. And in Mayor's wisdom, when he came in, Mayor Mosca, he continued the program, and it's a program that we continue doing to today. The next piece of literature I put in there for you is, this is of the city, all the streets, and if you see all the little round circles, that's all the lift stations. That's 14 lift stations that I talked about earlier. They're all right there. The next piece of literature that you have is one of the reasons why the city of Harahan has so many sinkholes. This was a study done by the mitigation program by the federal government. And it specifies, we made the book. It's like an attorney that makes the book, he's doing something good. We made the book, and it describes why we have so many sinkholes. And in short, what it's about is the organic matter that's in our soil. Once it's close to the river, when we talk about close to the river, we're talking like, say, from Wilson Street to the river, it holds a lot of moisture in there. As you get further away on the other side of Wilson, it dries up and it's dry, and it's the land, the soil is most stable then. That's going to take us to the next page. I don't know if y'all can see it, but if you see one of these packets out there, feel free to open it up and look.
Wait, yeah, I'll hold them up.
This is a sinkhole, if y'all can see it. That's a sinkhole on Wilson Street. If you see this wet-looking spot, that's where the flush truck was parked while he was flushing that manhole out. And the operator was very observant, and he saw the truck go down. So he ran, got his truck, and pulled it out of the way before it went completely. That's when the hole started. This is what the hole looked like 15, 20 minutes later. It was a very deep hole. Just to show you what sinkholes are, this sinkhole started about, it's about the size of a plate when it started, and it got worse and worse and worse. We went in, we filled it in sand. Now, this sand was here about 2 or 3 months. And then all of a sudden, the hole opened up like that.
And I want to thank you, Mayor, when you take me to see these sinkholes, You always hold my hand.
That's right. Yeah, I don't want you to fall in, man.
Does he buy you coffee?
By the time we noticed that sinkhole and could get our things put together, we had to fence it off, make arrangements, talk to contractors, get bids to do it and all. It was that big. And that wasn't more than 30 days. What you need, Liz? It got that big. Now, our work is hard. If it's electrical problem, the lights are out, they send you a notice, say, hey, the lights are gonna be out for a while. If the gas company, they gotta come out and repair the gas line, they just turn your gas off. We can't do that. We can't turn the surge off. We can't block the surge. If you see this pipe right here, that was one of the first things we had to do. We had to put in what we call a bypass. We had to go downstream to a manhole, put a pipe in it, run it along this fence line, all the way to another manhole to bypass this. And I know it's hard for y'all to see, but if the other picture is, I mean, what's so hard about this, it sounds easy, but we're not working in an open field. We had 10 feet to work from the end of this building to this fence. That's how wide the servitude was. That's the whole area. This piece of machine coming in here is 9 feet
With
wide.
electrical lines on top.
And electrical lines above it.
In some
Right.
instances, this is in people's backyards, correct?
And
they're
it's all
trying
in
to-
the backyard.
trying to, You know, give them some privacy.
The man had his yard very, very nice until we went in and we destroyed everything, so. But this is a better picture. That's the end of the man's building, and that's the fence, and we're trying to get this a piece of equipment in there.
Now, we rebuilt his yard though, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, we put, yeah, that's how deep it is. These men are about 12 feet down in the ground right there.
What's that pipe above him? Mr. Collins?
Incidentally, when we first went out there, you saw the hole, it wasn't that bad. We talked to a contractor, it's what we call a point repair. They used to repair maybe 20 feet for a set amount of dollars, maybe $35,000, $50,000 for a point repair. Once we got down there and dug it out, we couldn't find the pipe. We dug to 16 feet, couldn't find the pipe. Not we, the contractor, Fleming. Dug to 18 feet, still couldn't find the pipe because the pipe had completely disintegrated and gone. So we didn't have the pipe, so.
And 18
Instead of
feet is
being
almost
a-
a two-story home.
Huh?
18 feet is almost a two-story
Yeah,
home.
right, that's how deep it is.
And these men that we hire, it's the city employees, they don't make a lot of money.
Yeah, well, this is done by Fleming.
But we did some
Oh,
of
yeah,
ourselves
yeah. What is that?
when we dig stuff up.
Oh, yeah, we do a lot of stuff ourselves.
We
Yes,
physically
yes,
put
we
the
do.
pipes in.
But to continue the story about this, we thought we was gonna spend $35,000 to $50,000. Well, when they couldn't find this pipe in that hole, they had to start digging and digging and digging, and I think the total yardage was like 150 yards then to change all that pipe. So the price drastically increased by that time.
And with all due respect to Councilman Hewitt, I've personally seen Councilman Bodier, Landry, and Chatelain help it with the sewer stuff, getting dirty.
Yeah, I was
We had
gonna
fun.
mention that. I was gonna mention that. But, you know, the added cost to simple things such as this, we rent a generator, they bring the generator out, they start it up, you can't stand the noise, it's so bad. So we had to spend like $50 a day extra to get a quiet generator, not generator, I'm sorry, a pump. Because this pump is gonna run 24 hours in somebody's backyard. So go to the mayor, look, I know we short of money, what to do? Well, get the quiet pump, of course, so.
No, we don't, I don't know, you know, it's always been an issue. We don't budget for this,
No,
because we don't know how much to budget.
right, well, such as the same project, some of the fence was old, raggedy, torn up fence and all, and to make the citizens happy, and you said make them happy.
Right.
We put partially a new fence up.
Correct.
For them. We got the quarter generator.
Right.
We had to pay to have a utility pole
Right.
moved that
Well, our
was in the
citizens pay
mix.
tax dollars. They want to see those tax dollars go to work for them. I'm convinced they don't want to see those tax dollars develop into some kind of savings account to be used 10 years later when they're not around.
Right.
They want to see something now.
And then you have to realize, like I said at the beginning, the man's yard was very nice. So when we left it, it was as nice as when we went in there. We put sod, grass in there, and we took care of it. Now, that's in the past. This is Anthony Avenue. And this is just a sampling of some of the problems and why it's so expensive to fix the sewage. That's Anthony Avenue. This one's about 8 foot deep that they dig in here. Now, just to show you, if y'all can see that, looks like a nice dead-end street. It's all nice and clean and all. That's how we leave our work. When we do work or have somebody do the work, we out there watching them. We just don't hire them and forget about them out there. Either Edwin's out there daily, I'm out there daily to
Now,
make
don't we
sure.
let Evan go take pictures before
Yes,
and after?
Edwin took all these
Give them
pictures
to you, and you go and inspect everything.
and inspect everything. And these pictures, Edwin did, all these pictures.
Now, what time do we meet every day? Will you show me this stuff?
I meet with you in the mornings, probably around 9:30, 10 o'clock, or if not, it's after lunch sometime, and we discuss them, and we fill you in exactly what we do and let you know every move that we're making. Now, I don't know if you can see this picture. This picture's a fence coming down right here. About, I guess it was 16 months ago, Evan? 16 months ago, we changed, there's a surge line runs right in here. We changed that whole surge line out.
Where's that at?
This is
Kenmore.
in back of Kenmore.
All right.
We fixed this in 1983 when I was mayor. We fixed it one more time since then, and now it's doing it the same thing again. It's the soil. It's not the contractor, it's not us not looking at the contract, make sure he's doing it. It's the soil. It subsides, it's going down. This will last a little longer now because when we fixed it 16 months ago, we put PVC pipe in that plastic pipe. Hopefully, why we don't fix and dig it up right away, hopefully this is gonna just be settlement, we hope. And once again, we're working in people's backyard, they got vegetable gardens, they got flower gardens, they got everything else. So we have to pay extra for that because it takes the workers extra. But this is, Mr. Ladner's fence has been straightened, we leveled his fence, we did what we need to do, and we're gonna watch it, much like we do sinkholes.
Now, we just got done fixing something for a lady, she works at Loyola Law School, I forget
Yes,
the
sir, the
street.
drainage on.
What street is that? Hunley, okay. Now, before we did the work, we went in and consulted with various people.
Correct.
Different engineer, Meyer engineer, we consulted with, I think, a construction company, Edwin, you. In other words, a lot of times people say, well, why don't you act immediately? Because we're trying to figure out what's secure, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And sometimes that takes time.
It does.
But when we did the job, everyone seems to think everyone's happy now.
I haven't had any more complaints. The lady that was threatening to sue, she went away, she's not, she's satisfied.
Right.
We did the right thing. You
Right.
made the decision, you made the call, we did the right thing. The next picture is, and a lot of people may be familiar with this location, Raven and Jefferson Highway, right by St. Rita's School. The whole manhole collapsed. That's Raven right there. And this is a void all under all of the whole manhole collapsed right there. We went in and repaired that just to show the look how big that is. That's all concrete and cast iron. That was the part that collapsed and we had to take it out and they rebuilt a whole new one for the sewage. And when we're talking about land subsiding, said only affect just the sewer lines. If you ever notice, stop signs or street signs are about this high off the ground, when at one time they were 5'7", huh? 5'7", they sinking down in the ground. We constantly going around raising signs up, because some of them sink faster than the others. The next packet I prepared for you are potential problems. Potential. This is what I was talking about. This is cancer. You see that sink right there? If you can see it. That's on Marquette and West Avenue. The whole corner here is sinking, including the sidewalk, and it's all sinking due to surge. And I know you can't see this one. Just to give you an idea how much it's sinking, that's a straight edge we put out there. That's 16 inches down right there. This is another shot of it, but on a different angle that he's measuring this down. Now, you see this big black spot here? And this is what we do every day. Edwin and I ride the city almost daily, looking for problems. And a lot of people are saying, what are you riding around for? What are you riding around for? Well, I'm riding around to look at the baby sinkholes. I'm looking for the cancer starting in the area where the sinkhole is. But what I was getting ready to say, this black spot, they had a water leak here. We think that the water leak, it was a main water line, we think the water leak may have washed out some of the dirt around the street, around the sewer line, around the water line, causing another void under it, and that's what's making it sink.
Now, Mayor, we're going through that. The council individuals, all the council people, they call you up, or me a lot, want a status report.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're attentive to these things, what's going on, and we give them a status report, right?
We certainly do.
We don't hide
And
anything from anybody.
Anyone that calls and wants to know what's going on.
We're
we're more than
transparent.
glad to do it. A citizen calls them that they may have a problem, whatever it may be.
Now, if anybody
We
wants to,
address them just as quickly as we can, because it's my belief is the people are more happier if they get it done right away. Why put it on the back burner? Do it now, do it today.
Right.
Do it in the next couple of hours if you can.
and we try to help the council as best we can when they call us, because we know they're getting more calls too.
Yeah, well, fortunate to say, so far I've been able, I think, mostly satisfy most of the councilmen whenever they call us in for.
You do a terrific job, Mr. Cole.
Thank you. This, again, is a problem. There's a void under the street somewhere. There's a sewer line that runs right there. Something's wrong underneath there. As soon as Blue Flash gets there to smoke test it, they're gonna give us a report. If you see this area here, that's a sinkhole that's about 4 months old. We went and put some blacktop, you can see it's new blacktop in there, to try to stabilize it, because the worst thing for a sinkhole is to have a heavy piece of equipment ride through it and pound it. It pounded like a jackhammer then. You know, UPS truck, or school bus, or garbage truck, or whatever may pass that, and they keep pounding it down. These haven't been repaired yet. These are the ones that's gonna be talked about with the $4 million that the mayor borrowed from the state. We're gonna be able to repair sewer lines with that money. And this is a baby one just starting right here. I know y'all can't see it back there, but that's a baby one, just starting. That's on the corner of West and Wilson. And that's how we do it. We watch them, we gauge it, we measure it. That's down about 4.5 inches right now. About 3 months ago, it was maybe an inch, inch and a half. So we'll keep an eye on that. That's the whole again and all the rest of it. And I guess our last biggest problem, this is on Ashlawn. Underneath this lady's driveway is all sinking. It's all going down. Another sewer line right here. The sewer line runs all the way to the back of her property. Her fence is down also in the back of her property. We were out there a couple of days ago with Edwin, and Edwin walked down and he noticed this is in the line of the sewer line. The street, the sidewalk is breaking up. The street is sinking. And that sewer line is gonna be a problem because it's way back in the servitude in somebody's backyard. So what I'm saying in closing is that we have some major problems with the surge plant. The treatment plant eats up a lot of money. We've got very expensive pumps in there. We got things that they call rakes to rake the surge when it comes in, to send it to another tank. All the chemicals that we have to buy and all. Veola Water been working with us fairly well by giving us some extra things that they really don't have to do. You know, there's many times we out late at night. I can remember one time on the Radford Street job, it was in the backyard, that's the one I showed you the fence was sinking. It was late in the afternoon when we started work on it. It was even later when they could deliver the pumps to pump the surge, the bypass like I spoke about earlier. But when the driver came about 10 o'clock, he's got all this big heavy pipe. The pipe probably weighs 500 pounds of length of pipe. And you need a lot of manpower to move that. Councilman Chatelain called me one night. He said, see all the trucks, now what's going on? And I told him. He said, you need help. And I said, yeah, because nobody's here except a few of us, and I can't pull too much pipe. So he called Councilman Landry and he called Councilman Bodier. He didn't call the ladies, of course. But he called them out, and they were all out there. When we finished doing what we had to do with the pipes, Bodier and Landry, no, they left. He stayed out because they had electrical problem. Councilman Chatelain stayed out there because they had electrical problem, and of course, you know, he's electrical business, so he took care of that for us also. And I have to say now, Councilman Chatelain, thank you for the work that you did in Isaac for us. We had some brand-new pumps, generators, to run the lift stations. Because when the power goes off, the surge doesn't move. But the federal government gave us 4 new generators on trailers. But the problem was they they just didn't get to it, to put the plugs on the end. The wires are just bare wires. That's 220, isn't it? That's 220 volts, and you know, I'll take a chance with 110. It might knock me down and let my hair grow a little bit, but well, anyway, once again, he came out, he hooked up all of the generators for us, and was able to have the surge flowing, and didn't get one complaint all during Isaac that the toilets wouldn't flush, and it all worked beautiful. So with that, I think we've covered most everything. There's a lot more to the sewage treatment plant than people realize. I know it's not a very nice thing to say about sewage, you know. It's more better the recreation department and the maintenance department and all those kind of things. But just let me tell you this one little thing. Thanksgiving dinner, everybody's sitting down with all the relatives, and little Johnny goes to the bathroom and he flushes the toilet, and it doesn't go down. So he thinks, oh, I'll just flush it again. So he flushes again because he didn't want to go tell mom and daddy. He flushes again, now it's running on the floor and going to the dining room where you're getting ready to eat Thanksgiving dinner. So, yeah, that's when the sheriff's department is important. The fire department is important if your house is on fire. Police department is important when somebody's breaking in your house, or if you have a kid that excels in sports. Then Stu's business at the recreation department is important. But let's don't forget about the sheriff's department. It's important.
Thank you, Mr. Carlo.
And can I have the viola man come up a minute?
Go get some Mary Ellen probably has some.
State your name and where you work.
Evening, I'm J.R. Parrish, I'm with Veolia Water.
You manage our plant?
I am, I'm the project manager.
You manage our plant?
I am, I'm the project manager.
And what is your assessment right now? You're getting ready to give us a list of ranking of what needs to be done there?
We are, we have evaluated the lift stations and the equipment in the lift stations. We've also done the assessment on the wastewater treatment itself, that's 49 years old.
And when you do that, you bring it to City Hall?
We do.
I show it to other people and get back with you.
Pretty much. We have prioritized the items in need, usually before I bring it to you, yes.
How's the plant running right now?
Plant is running good.
And we're not under any compliance orders, are we?
We're not. We have no violations, and we are not under any consent orders at this time.
And basically what we did, we privatized the plant and to a company, and they run the plant for so much a year.
19 years ago.
All right. And then in addition to that, we bring some substance to you from St. Bernard, and you pay us for that.
About $8,000 a month.
And then in addition to that, there's about $12,000 of work required under the contract that you all do in addition to what we have to pay you for.
Absolutely.
You do that for us, right?
And we're here 24/7, 365 plus. We like to, yeah. Well, like Mr. Carlo, we like to say we're number one in the number two business.
Anybody got any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Stu?
Good evening, Stu Foley, Harahan Recreation Department Director. I just had a couple announcements to make about what's going on at the playground. I did want to thank Edwin and Mr. Carlo, though, and just to kind of let everybody know that these two departments do work hand in hand together on a daily basis. And anytime I call Edwin or Mr. Carlo, they send somebody over. Unfortunately, we don't have groundskeepers like Jefferson Parish Recreation Departments have. We don't have the staff that they have, so anytime that I need extra help or muscle, these guys are always there for me, and we do appreciate that, and we do work well hand in hand together, so thank you all very much for that. Basically, what I wanted to let everybody know was that the Harahan Athletic Association is having their annual sock hop for Halloween this week, and it's going to be Saturday night, the 18th. It's from 7 to 10, ages 9 to 13, and it's $10 per person, per child at the door. They'll have a bunch of giveaways and prizes for the kids and stuff like that. Also, they're going to have their third annual jambalaya cook-off, November 1st, and that is from 12 to 6 on a Saturday, November 1st. No LSU game that day. We kind of try to do it with a bye so that people can make themselves available. And they'll have live music, and also they're going to do a car show this year. So we're going to park some cars on the grass, Mayor, but only if it's dry. So we don't want to mess any fields up or anything like that.
Make sure the sprinkler system will come on.
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, they don't break it.
Now, what type of activities are out there? What sports?
Right now, we're just kind of wrapping up the 2014 football season. Probably have another 2 weeks for that. And then we'll start basketball registration on November 3rd, which is running usually between 5 and 7 Monday through Friday. You can register your child for that season to start for 2014-15 towards the end of November. And basically everything.
What other sports we do out there?
Right now, we're doing volleyball. We don't have cheerleading this year, but volleyball and football right now. with
And we have
basketball coming up in the next
baseball?
month. Baseball isn't until it's a summer sport,
And they
spring
have-
sport.
Baseball for little kids?
Yes, sir. Fall, it's around April, but fall sports right now are basketball is getting ready to start. Of course, football and volleyball.
And we try to solicit donations from people, I mean, that's how we got the batting cage, was a donation, right?
Yes, sir. The Harahan Athletic Association raises a bunch of money. Jimmy Dudenhofer is the president of that association and has done a fine job with he works very hard, and it's all volunteer time. I mean, this guy does not get paid to do what he does, and we do appreciate what he does. He's spearheaded quite a nice campaign over the last couple of years, and the events that he's had have been very successful. And we've been able to fund a few things that the city may not be able to do. There's some shelters that we're going to build for the smaller fields without having to come burden the budget or ask the city for money. And they've helped out with that field maintenance, dirt, sod, seed, fertilizer, everything we need to make it look like it looks, that we don't always come ask you guys for.
Now, that
So,
gentleman that volunteers in the concession stand.
Willie Morgan.
Mr. Willie.
Mr.
Yeah.
Willie, yeah. Willie's kind of a fixture. He's like the hood ornament. He's just always there, you know, and he's a good guy.
And your worst nightmare is that every father thinks his son should be an all-star.
We never have any complaints, Mayor. Everything's perfect. It's wonderful. People are wonderful. So I'm a people person, so that's a good thing. It works out pretty good. But
Right.
everything's going well. You know, we're getting towards the end of the year and looking forward to 2015. But we're doing well.
Do you know what your budget is?
Right now, offhand, I do
About
not know, sir.
180?
About 180, yes, yes. But I
You
think
could use more,
it might
right?
be a little bit less this year, which is going to hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
But we're trying to turn off the air conditioners and the lights when we're not using them. and
Now,
just
you
kinda
let the
pinch a
different
penny
groups
here and
use the gym, like the ladies, senior ladies, volleyball or something?
there. And what is that?
You let the other groups use our gym, like the senior ladies.
Well, we have one of the only air conditioning gyms in the parish too,
Right.
so it's used every day.
Right.
There's always some activities going on in the gym.
And there are other people that rent the gym,
There are people that rent the gym, yes.
and some things that are outside, they rent the
The shelters outside for parties on weekends and things like that, any activities. I mean, technically, they should, it's a park for people to use, but in certain cases with leagues and things like that, they should pay to use it.
And we have security cameras up there, right?
Yes, sir.
All
we do.
around.
We do.
That's monitored by the police now, right? Anything else?
No, sir, that's
All right.
it. Thank you all. And I would like to say with trick or treat coming up, everybody keep an eye out for our little ones. Appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, let's bring Todd and Al up now. Todd and Al Corso. And explain who you guys are.
Good evening, council members and Mr. Mayor. My name is Todd Tunion. I'm with the audit firm Postal Waite in Netterville to report to you on the results of the financial statement audit for the year ended December 31, 2013.
And who's Al?
Al Corsell, Director of Finance for the
All right.
city.
Todd, you want to put that in order? Yeah. So first I'll walk through just the scope of the audit engagement and the various reports that were issued during the conduct of the audit, and then cover our required communications to the governing body. Then I'll have some brief comments on the numbers and the disclosures within the financial statements as well, and then open it to any questions that any of you may have. So first, in terms of the reports that we've issued, we issued our opinion on your financial statements, on the city's financial statements, that they are materially correct and reported in accordance with U.S. generally accepted accounting principles. So we issued a clean audit opinion, or what's called an unmodified audit opinion, that the numbers within the financial statements, as well as the amounts in the footnote disclosures, are materially correct and reported in accordance with U.S. GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles. So in 15 to 30 seconds, that's really good news. It's a clean audit opinion.
Did we adopt the Louisiana Legislative Auditor's Best Practices in Government?
I don't, is that a separate policy?
Do we
or-
follow the Louisiana Legislative Auditor's procedure?
The audit report, as a course of the audit, as we complete the audit, it's submitted to their office, to the Louisiana Legislative Auditor's office.
But do we follow their rules?
Yes. If we didn't, they review your report when we submit it to them,
Right.
and they call us if they have any questions or concerns on the report.
Right.
And then once it passes their review is when it's posted on their website and available to the general public. So the second report that we issue is a report on internal control in accordance with government auditing standards. And this is the report where we identify any deficiencies or items of non-compliance. And then I had mentioned the submission of the report to the legislative auditor. So at this point, the reports have been submitted and accepted, again, by the legislative auditor's office. SAS 114, SAS is Statement on Auditing Standards 114, which is the auditing standard which tells us, as your independent CPA, how we are required to communicate to those in governance, to the governing body, and what information we are required to communicate to those in governance. And so we do issue a separate 2- or 3-page letter which walks through each of those required communications. And I'll walk through each of those bullet points briefly. First, in terms of significant accounting policies, these are the accounting policies as described within the footnotes to your financial statements. And these are your policies in accordance with GASB, Governmental Accounting Standards Board, as well as U.S. GAAP. In terms of these accounting policies disclosed within your financial statements, you would be interested from a council perspective if there were any new policies adopted during the current year's audit, or if there were any changes to accounting policies from last year to this year. And there was one new accounting policy adopted that was effective for the 2013 audit. It's titled GASB 65, and basically what it did is it changed, in its simplest format, changed the presentation of certain items on the balance sheet or the statement of financial position, and changed the title from certain assets to deferred inflows and deferred revenues to deferred outflows or deferred inflows. So it's basically a change in title and presentation on the financial statement, not really a change in how you determine fund balance or change in net assets, change in fund balance during the year. It's more a presentation item on the actual fund financial statements. Other than that, there were no changes in policies during the 2013 audit. Again, from a council perspective, you would be interested in what significant estimates are in your financial statements, okay? What numbers have some inherent judgment within them. Most of your numbers, the cash in your bank account, the accounts receivable, the prepaid expenses, the accounts payable, the balance on your debt, and the bonds payable, those are hard numbers. We can vouch and agree to bank statements, receivable schedules, things like that. The only estimate within your financial statements is the useful life assigned to your property and equipment, all of the assets that the city owns. It's an estimate in terms of what the ultimate useful life of those assets is. And those assets are depreciated within the sewer fund, as well as on the government-wide financial statements for the overall government. So those fixed assets of the city are depreciated on an estimate basis each year. And so those useful lives, we test. There were no changes in the useful lives from last year to this year, and the useful lives assigned are consistent with the guidance as provided by the Louisiana Legislative Auditor's Office. So that's really the only estimate within your financial statements. We did have some adjusting journal entries that were performed as a course of the audit procedures. We did review those with Al as well as with the mayor in the course of our review of the audit. There were no disagreements with management, with the mayor or Al during the course of the procedures. If there were, we would be required to communicate those to you. There were no difficulties during the course of the audit, and we are not aware of any consultations with other CPAs or other auditors that management may have had, almost opinion shopping or taking a second look on a certain technical issue. So there were none of those matters that we are aware of during the course of the audit. So that basically covers the reports that we've issued, as well as the required communications to those in governance and the overall conduct of the audit. I did have just some brief comments on the actual financial statements and the numbers within the statements and the actual footnote disclosures. And I'm not going to walk page by page, okay? But the first 2 pages are our actual audit opinion. These are the only 2 pages within the report which actually are ours and on our letterhead. The rest of the report basically is management's and the city's financial statements and footnotes, which we audit. So page 1 and 2 is the audit opinion, and again, it's a clean or an unmodified audit opinion. The next few pages walk through management's discussion and analysis. This section was implemented due to GASB 34. Now it's probably about 10 to 12 years ago, and is basically a narrative form of the financial activity or the significant financial activities of the city over the audit period. Page 12 and 13 are the government-wide financial statements. And the government-wide financial statements present the city's assets and liabilities, revenues, and expenditures on the full accrual basis of accounting. So I mentioned GASB 34 and its effective date 10 or 12 years ago. That accounting standard forced the adoption of and/or creation of these first 2 statements, Statement A and Statement B. And the purpose is really to get kind of a complete picture of the financial assets and liabilities of a governmental entity on the full accrual basis of accounting, to have all of your assets, all of your equipment, as well as all of your long-term debt and your bonds payable. Page 13 is the full accrual basis income statement during the year ended 2013. The next few statements are the actual fund statements, and these are the statements that not just the city of Harahan, but most local governments use as a monitoring tool, the actual fund financial statements. And the fund financial statements are reported on the modified accrual basis of accounting, where the focus is on current and available resources. So your long-term debt, the fixed assets of the city, are not recorded as an asset on the fund statements. As well, the long-term debt of the city, the bonds payable, are not reported as a liability on the fund financial statements, because the focus is really on current and available resources to be used within the next 12 months. So the governmental funds balance sheet for the city combined has total assets of $2.3 million, total liabilities and deferred inflows of almost $2.2 million, and total fund balance of approximately $28,000 as a citywide at December 31, 2013.
Now, what is that $28,000?
Where is it, or
No,
what is it?
what is it?
What is it? It's the net assets of, it's the difference between all of the cash and the accounts receivable that you
That's
have.
like a plus 28,000?
That's a positive. Yes, it's a positive number, yes.
At
Not a
what
deficit.
point?
That's not a deficit number.
It's a positive number at December 31st, 2013.
13.
Correct.
Last year.
Correct.
Now, you work for Joey Richard, right?
I work with Joey,
He's
yes,
a-
sir.
He's a partner.
Yes, yes.
That's the
Joey,
same Joey Richard that lives in Harahan.
Yes.
That's been doing our finances for 35 years. I think Mayor Ferrero brought him on, and Councilman Johnson brought him on. Very well-respected man in
yes.
Harahan.
I have worked.
He had to approve this, right?
I have worked with Joey and for Joey for the last almost 15 years. And,
He had to approve your
well,
findings, right?
I am the partner. I am a partner with the firm, and I
Right.
am the partner who did sign the report. Okay, I
Right.
detail reviewed the file,
Right.
answered any questions you had, Al had, supervised our team as they were out here interacting with your staff.
Did you find any criminal
Joe-
activities with this audit?
Joey does read the report as second review, so as quality control director.
Because we've been accused of illegal things. You found anything illegal with us?
If we did, we would have findings and items, within our compliance letter or
And you're with that firm, what's it called?
Postal Wait and Netterville. And
National firm, right?
We're the largest CPA firm within the state of
Very
Louisiana.
reputable.
Yeah. And if any fraud or misappropriation is identified, we have a responsibility to report it, not just to you and the council, but to the legislative auditor, as well as if you have any
Right.
knowledge, you or the council have a responsibility to report it to the legislative
Right,
auditor.
and
as
every
well.
year, we sign a letter, like an affidavit to you,
Right.
of what we know is right or wrong.
Correct. Correct.
And
And
you
get
can
into-
lose your license if you tried to help us do something illegal, right?
I
Go to jail.
I have
You
3
have to
young
call David
kids, and I have a lot of tuition payments left to go.
Right.
So I'm interested in maintaining, I'm very interested in maintaining
Right.
my license. Yes, sir.
Well, we're very, very, very satisfied with your
Yes.
expertise.
Yes. I did just have 1 or 2 other comments on the footnotes and the report. There are some footnotes within the report that explain the implementation or adoption of GASB 65. So if you're interested in some of that real riveting language, you can catch that within the footnotes. The city did make all of its required principal and interest payments on the outstanding bonds as well as the capital leases during the year. That's another thing that
We have not defaulted on 1 penny of what we owe, right?
not what you owe, no.
We've made all our
Yeah,
payments?
you've made all of your payments on the 2 outstanding bonds you have as well as the capital leases. The last point that I wanted to mention was just, we also disclose subsequent events, so events that may have happened in 2014 before we issue the report that the reader of the financial statements may have an interest in knowing. And so we had 2 items. One is the loan for the water fund, which has previously been
That's the
mentioned.
$4 million?
Right, that's the $4 million loan. And the second is in March of 2014, was the forgiveness of the CDL loan, which was approximately $320,000 of principal and 65.
So to clarify that, as mayor, I tried to work on the forgiveness of a $373,000 loan, which basically the federal government agreed to, thanks to the paperwork by our clerk, Ms. Rena Sanders, who produced a bunch of material so we could get that loan forgiven, right?
Right.
Okay.
And that's a loan all the way back from Katrina.
Right. That's a loan from 2006 or 5, right?
Correct. Correct.
So you haven't looked at anything for 14 yet?
We have not audited anything for 14. I have looked at unaudited information prepared by the city's management. And the 2014 general fund is basically break even or a slight surplus. for
Okay,
the-
let me hear that
We
again.
need, we need to move some money?
And this is unaudited information, so all we've done is
But
take.
you've had an opportunity to look at all the paperwork, all the records.
Well.
Submitted to you.
All we've done on 2014 is look at a printout from your system.
Right.
You know, we haven't validated it, audited it, done any procedures. Yeah, go ahead, Al.
So, yeah, the 2014 results through September, in the general fund, we're at a break even, which means we are, we don't have a surplus, but we don't have a deficit either.
And the general fund compared to the capital projects fund, can you
Correct.
differentiate, tell me the difference between those two? And why did we get a letter saying we had this huge surplus in a capital fund?
Because the capital project fund, the video poker money that comes in from the city is, by ordinance, is allocated to the capital projects fund for capital projects.
Which
And-
are what? I mean, I know, but you could tell us what they are, maybe?
Well, recently, we did the scoreboard for the playground. If there's street repairs, computer purchases, any capital items.
Okay.
And so that, yeah, that fund this year has a 200, through September, $212,000 surplus.
How much from last year?
Well, the fund balance at the end of December 13 was 854,000.
So it's 854 plus two something.
It's over $1 million, yes. And then
And we're expected
that
to
money
add
can't be
another
moved.
100,000.
That money can't be moved into something else that could be used to
Yes.
run the
Yes.
city? It
Through
can be moved?
ordinance.
Yes, through ordinance.
So why do I keep hearing we broke, and we truly have $1 million?
We haven't moved it yet,
So-
but we're gonna move it by the end of the year.
Right, the fund.
So why are we sitting on $1 million? I mean, why, like you said, why don't we do projects with it?
Well, that's gonna be your decision, between now and the end of the year.
We're gonna move this money to
We have to do
general
it by the
funds
31st, right?
On the ordinance.
So just to be clear, we had talked before the meeting, Mr. Crisell, in the beginning of the year, based on projections from last year, we approve, the council, we approve a budget for this year. Just like you would approve your budget at home. You plan to spend this much money this year on, or this much money on your home or your tuition for children. We approved a budget of what we thought we would spend.
Which was what, 5.4?
5.4.
5.489.
Right.
So if we're spending more, that's a possibility because things come up that are unexpected and unplanned, like Mr. Carlo went through the whole presentation this evening.
Right.
Therefore, we have a savings type account, which you're calling our capital fund, that we can use for capital projects. Or we can, through ordinance, the council can decide to switch that money over and transfer it to the general fund. Therefore, we wouldn't have a deficit.
Correct.
Correct?
Well.
Does the city have a
What
credit?
we had mentioned before was the city's total fund balance, if you combine all of the funds together,
Mm-hmm.
was the $28,000, which is the positive.
plus
number.
28.
The plus 28, correct.
Okay, so,
So it's sort of,
It's confusing.
it is.
So
Yeah.
we don't have $1 million, we have 28,000.
You think it's
That's the total
confusing.
fund balance of the city.
I just want to be clear to the citizens, because there's a lot of talk, especially now that we're knocking
Rumor,
doors.
innuendo, lies.
Well, knocking doors during the election, and unfortunately, I find myself trying to explain to the citizens what the budget is and that we're not in a deficit, and trying to explain all these very significant details that are difficult to explain. And so I just wanted you to be able to talk through that tonight, that, we approved a budget based on projections on what we thought we'd spend. If we spent more, we do have a separate account where we can move money into the general fund to balance.
And let me say,
That's one other thing. I wanted to clarify. The city can't spend some enormous amount of money that we don't have, correct? We don't have loans or credit cards in a way to go drive up some enormous amount of money to overspend and not have fiduciary responsibility to our city, correct?
No, the only loan that was on the books was forgiven, which was the FEMA loan. We have the sales tax bonds that are out there, and the capital lease payment on the fire truck. And I think there's a couple of automobile leases, but that's it. There's no credit cards for the city or anything like that.
Okay.
so we have to move $1 million to this fund to make the balance the budget, is basically, am I understanding this right?
No.
All right,
If we have
let's look
we have
at this.
$1,028,337 in the capital funds budget, and then we have $28,000 in real money, well, I still don't understand it. That's a $1 million difference.
So the general fund has a deficit, the capital project fund has a surplus, okay? And the sales tax fund has a surplus.
And the sinking fund has a surplus.
Yes, right. So.
But if you put
so
all these
add
funds
all of
together,
those
we
together,
just up 28 grand.
28 grand, that's right.
If you put them all together, we're a positive 28,000.
28 grand.
So
That's right.
the city's
So-
not $2 million in debt?
No.
Thank you.
We have $2.8 million of sales tax bonds.
And I see the
That's
sales
the-
tax up 20% this year, right?
Yeah, so this
The
year,
bonds up to about 17%.
right, so this year, we're basically at a balanced budget. Without any unforeseen expenses, we're projected to end the year with a balanced budget.
So we're at about 81% right now, I
Less than
believe,
that.
we talked about.
Yeah.
You think this is a new
So-
businesses coming to town, or has the?
The sales tax is definitely up, and that, of course, that's what's helping us, because we've had increases in expenses, operating expenses that are really out of the city's control as far as being able to manage these expenses. Just going back to 2013 versus 2012, there was 4 major items that we can't control. Our insurance, our property and casualty insurance was up $46,000. Our health insurance cost, which is based on Obamacare, $52,000. The police fire retirement system, which is mandated, what we have to match on their salaries, was up $20,000. But if you add in the
And fire,
increases.
right?
That's
Retirement.
both, that's
Both
both.
together.
But if you add in the increases that were mandated for the last 3 years, it's about $120,000 that were increased over those prior years. And then electric, the utilities were up $60,000. So those items.
Turn the
are-
air on.
No, we just bumped it up, we're saving money.
So those items were, without even considering sinkholes and sewer problems and things like that, that's $180,000 that increased from one year to the next. But because sales taxes are up this year, it's helping us mitigate those increases. So hopefully we won't have any other major repairs, and we'll end the
Plus,
year with
there's
a
one
balanced
fund,
budget.
I don't think is in there, from the federal government, the asset forfeiture fund.
Correct.
That money, I don't know, where's that money at? It's not in there, right?
That's
It's a
called-
separate fund.
That's called a special revenue fund.
Right.
And it's a separate fund, but the money that was spent last year in 2013 was on assets for the city.
Right.
So that was added, and Tom can explain that, it was added as a revenue and an expense on the city so that we can pick up the assets.
But
Right.
that can only be
I
spent
have
on the
a-
police
a
department, right? That can only-
Specifically for the police department.
I have a document from the federal government dated 3/2014, that in process right now, the city of Harahan will get a percentage of proceeds of $3.1 million. Normally, it takes 4 to 6 months for us to, we won't get the money till next year, right?
Right.
All right. But that's another amount of money that we don't include in the audit, even though we have it. That money's dedicated, it's gonna be for the police department.
Right. You want to speak to that?
Yeah.
Let Todd speak to that.
Let me just comment on the seized asset funds and how they're reported within the financial statements on the balance sheet or statement of financial.
Right. Let me ask you this. Our budget was 5.4 million. At the end of the year, Councilman Hewitt submitted a new ordinance on the budget. All councilmen, including Councilman Murray, voted for it, which was to make our budget 5.9 million. Okay? So, my confusion is, we covered in this budget what we spent. We spent money that we covered with the budget. I'm a little confused as to why that's not the real budget that's used.
There's certain transactions or certain activities that are recorded for internal purposes.
Right.
In the general fund, okay?
Right.
And are budgeted in the general fund. But for GASB reporting
Right.
and governmental accounting standards, we reclass those transactions to the specific funds. So they're reported in the fund that actually has that activity. One example is the real estate, is the portion of property tax revenue that's for the sewer fund. In the audited statements, that revenue is recorded right into the sewer fund as property tax revenue, non-operating revenue. In the budget, it's shown as a transfer out to the sewer fund.
In other words, Mayor, we showed the $5.9 million of revenues, which included the $200,000 of property taxes for the sewer fund.
Right.
But on our internal budget, we have a line item that shows the $200,000 being transferred out of the general fund into the sewer fund. So for audit purposes, under generally accepted auditing standards, and governmental auditing standards, they don't show that transfer, because that money was directly allocated to the sewer fund. So that's why what you're talking about is the 5.7 on that page.
All right. Now, explain over go back to say 2004. Give me a little history of the fund.
Sure. If you were to look at total fund balance in total for the, actually, let me, no, this is just the general fund. So when you look at fund balance for the general fund for the last 10 years, if you look pre-Katrina, there was a slight surplus of a few $100,000. Then you had Katrina, okay, and 1 year's a real big loss, 1 year a real huge gain. And after Katrina, in 2007, the city had a fund balance of approximately $2 million, okay? Every year since then, the city has had an operating deficit in the general fund. So it's 6, 7, 8 years in a row where the city has had losses within the general fund of the actual city's financial statements. And actually, the 2013 year was the smallest loss of the past 7 or 8 years that had losses within the general fund.
Okay, can you speak a little louder and repeat that sentence because of the lies being perpetrated out there?
Sure. So the deficit in the deficiency of revenues over expenditures in the general fund during the year ended 2013, which was approximately $160,000. That was the loss in the general fund for the 2013 year. That's the smallest loss that the city has had in the past 7 or 8 years in the general fund.
Now, I want to talk to you a minute about FEMA. Hurricane Isaac. So far, we've gotten $296,000 from the federal government from Isaac. Unfortunately, the federal government only repays the city 75% of what it spent, correct?
Yes.
All right. So we got 296. Now, I'm of the opinion we're owed another 300,000, which I'm in argument with FEMA, so I can appeal.
Right.
And whether we get that money or not, I don't know yet. But I do know that anyone that wants a copy of the contract that I signed regarding emergency with Hurricane Isaac is welcome to come get a copy of it. Because basically what I did is I said that whoever gets the contract as a result of the emergency of Hurricane Isaac with public requests for proposals will be based on an hourly rate upon current FEMA schedule of equipment rates pursuant to FEMA. So what I'm saying is, I told FEMA, whatever you want to pay these people, That's what they get. In addition to that, I've held back money in while this is going on. I've held back money from 3 contractors until I could find out at the end of the day what FEMA's gonna do. But I wanted to make that statement. Anyone's welcome. I'm very user-friendly. When you walk in City Hall, I'm the first office you see. My wife says, because we have glass doors, they're gonna drive by and shoot you. But I'm very user-friendly, very transparent, and you can come in, get a copy of this. We'll mail it to you if you want. You can make it an anonymous request. We'll put a stamp on it and send it to you. Anything else? Any questions? In that case, I got Mr. Valavasso.
Props here. Okay, Mayor, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for being patient.
Sure.
And I say, let them have it.
Okay, well, Steve Valavasso, Planning and Zoning, City of Harahan. I wanted to sort of give us a little bit of history of where the city has come in this area of planning and zoning to put in context where we are today. And as many of you know, I'm a professor at UNO, so I apologize if this is a lecture. But you don't have to take notes and there won't be a quiz, okay? But relationship between planning and zoning in the city of Harahan goes back to the very beginning when the city was founded. The city had a zoning ordinance and a zoning map on the day the city was founded. But like a lot of cities, it didn't update that zoning ordinance or zoning map or do anything to it for decades. And it wasn't until the late 1990s that when Mayor Mosca was mayor in his first terms as mayor, he decided to form a partnership with the University of New Orleans and apply for a grant to update all of the planning and zoning codes of the city of Harahan. But more importantly, and this was very prominent issue in the state, but to base that update on a master plan for the city of Harahan, a vision of what the city wanted to be in the future. And I was a research associate at the University of New Orleans at the time, and it was a very unique partnership that was formed between the city and the university, and it was a partnership where we used the resources of the university. We used a talented team of graduate students, about 10 of them, all of whom are now in important positions all over the United States. I'm proud of all these folks, and they learned their skill as planners here in the city of Harahan, and that partnership resulted in a planning and zoning analysis and recommendations report. I bring my props with me whenever I come to City Hall, which was the basis of the first master plan that the city of Harahan adopted, and the city adopted this master plan in 1999. Now, the other interesting thing, I could talk about this for a long time, but a couple points I want to make about what happened in this study. It wasn't just a study. We actually used some technology that in the late 1990s was really advanced, and today with cell phones and cameras and video, people take it for granted. But in the late 1990s, we used at the university, as part of our project with the city of Harahan, something called a pick-based database. And what that means is we took a picture of every structure in the city of Harahan and put it in a database and put it on a computer. We actually bought a special computer. It was one of the only computers in City Hall at the time, believe it or not. It was like a little shrine in Margaret's office when Margaret was the clerk here. And we put this data on there. Of course, nowadays,
you can do that anytime you go home at night or on your phone, on Google. Well, this was 10 years before Google Earth was even invented, and we had a database of every structure, every home in the city of Harahan, and we based the master plan, we based a land use plan, we based all the public meetings, we based the visioning sessions we had. We had scores of meetings. Many of you attended those meetings. You've been coming to meetings ever since, and I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. And that pick-based database system actually ended up resulting in the city of Harahan winning a national award. We got a national award for outstanding project for small city categories for this project. And the mayor and I got to go to a national conference and received the award on behalf of the city of Harahan and the University of New Orleans. It's a really big deal. And this report and this master plan began what I believe is a commitment on the city of Harahan to take planning and zoning to a whole new level. And I want to click off a few dates here, and I'm proud of this work that I've done here. I've spent half of my career working in Harahan. I've been a professional city planner for 40 years. I got my degree from UNO, and I've spent about 20 years helping this city and being proud of all the work we've done here. But based on this master plan, we went on and we actually updated the zoning ordinance. That zoning ordinance and the zoning map that had never been touched since the day the city was founded in the 1950s. And that resulted in the zoning maps that you see on the back of the wall here. And some of you know that there's an old zoning map, a historic map that's on the back of the wall of City Hall that had been there for decades. And it's actually historic, and we went to great lengths to move it and save it. And so people can see what was there for 50 years and what the computer-based geographic information database system, because now we've updated it from the pictures and we now have it all computerized, and everybody has a computer in City Hall, not just the one that we used to have in Margaret's office back in the old days. And we updated the zoning ordinance, we updated the zoning map, and that was adopted in 2004. Something else happened in 2004. The state of Louisiana passed a new law in 2004 that required every member of the Planning and Zoning Commission of every community and every member of the Board of Zoning Adjustment to be trained. And we took that law and we trained every member of the Harahan Planning and Zoning Commission and every member of the Board of Adjustment. No other city did that after that law was passed that quickly. And that now every city does it. And I'm proud of the fact that two of the people who were on planning and zoning at that time, and that's Council Lady Murray, who's not here tonight, and Councilman Lawrence Landry, they were part of that first crew that got trained, became great members of planning and zoning, and then became elected officials. So that was a big deal in 2004 when that state law was passed, and we implemented that. The city did that voluntarily. We continued a commitment to planning and zoning. And 2 years later, in 2006, of course, we had a little hiccup with Katrina there, but we kept moving during Katrina. The regulations helped the city make decisions, but in 2006, particularly after Hurricane Katrina, we realized the subdivision regulations for the city of Harahan, again, a set of rules that had not been touched since the founding of the city, needed updating and needed to be brought into compliance with the new maps, the new zoning, and all the other tools in the toolbox. So in 2006, we updated the subdivision regulations, and those are the rules that talk about infrastructure, the sewer lines, the street widths, the drainage standards. More importantly, in 2006, we put some very creative things into that set of subdivision regulations, three of which I just want to point out. One, we enabled impact fees. So new development that would come to the city after 2006 would have to pay its own way. We also put infrastructure analysis requirements, so new development would have to do a drainage study before it was approved. It would have to do a traffic impact study. And last but not least, we put into those subdivision regulations in 2006 a tool called a development agreement. And interestingly, years later, that becomes very important to us today. So the seeds of a good toolbox, is what we call this in the planning world, was put in based on a new set of subdivision regulations. We actually had 12 versions of that. Some of you remember that Tracy and my team, we spent hours with citizens and a committee that the mayor appointed, and we had 12 versions. We got to a version everybody agreed to. We put it to planning and zoning. They recommended it to the council adopted it unanimously, and we have one of the model sets of subdivision regulations for a small city in the state of Louisiana. And that was adopted, we started in 2006, we adopted it in 2008. After we did that, we continued to monitor development, use the tools, and I'll fast forward to tonight, because there's something very interesting that I wanted to point out to everybody tonight when I looked at my agenda. And I don't know if citizens see the agenda. You can probably go online, you can come look at it. But on tonight's agenda, you'll see that there is no report from the Planning and Zoning Commission, because the Planning and Zoning Commission didn't meet last month. And there's no report from the Board of Zoning Adjustment, because the Board of Zoning Adjustment didn't meet last month. And some people might say, well, gee, how come those people aren't meeting? They're not doing their job. Man, we're not going to pay them. By the way, you don't pay them anything. There's citizens who donate their spirit and their time, but the reason they didn't have meetings last month is because the system works. Because when you have a good set of regulations, and everybody's in agreement with it, and nobody's trying to change it, and everybody understands your standards, and everybody is abiding by the setbacks, you know, the system works. And so planning and zoning is there, the commission's there, Board of Adjustment is there. If you need a variance, they're there to listen and to weigh whether or not it meets the standards. If there is a need for a development project approval, like the one I'm going to talk about in just a minute, planning and zoning is there. But the fact that they didn't meet last month is actually an indication that we're a healthy community with a good master plan and a good set of regulations, and they're there when we need them. So I'll say, get back to my chronology, and I'm almost finished, and I'll be happy to answer questions. But in 2010, we were 11 years into our master plan. Remember, in 1999, we did this, we won the award, we adopted the first master plan for the city of Harahan, and 10 years later, after Katrina, Rita, and all the other named disasters that we all know so well, and because of changes in development patterns within the city and around the city and in the parish, the master plan needed an update. And so in 2010, we began an update of the master plan, which is what communities do, because master plans are dynamic tools that reflect what the community wants. And I would remind everybody that, again, we had a series of planning meetings and neighborhood meetings and public hearings in this room, and Planning and Zoning Commission hearings, and then the council eventually adopted an update to that award-winning master plan in 2011, which is this prop. So now we have a brand-new master plan. We've continued to update the zoning map when it's needed. Myself and Jeff Charlet, your regulatory director, we work hand in glove. We also work with Mr. Corsell, your city attorney, because all three of those skills, planning, regulatory, and your law department, all have to work together to make this work. And so all these tools are in your toolbox. And I just want to end with we all know that for the last year or so, we've been very focused on I think one of the most major development projects in the history of Jefferson Parish, obviously the largest single vacant tract of property in East Jefferson is the 85 acres on Jefferson Highway, known as the former Colonial Country Club. And in the last year, we have used all of the tools in the toolbox that I've just gone through, including the development agreement, which is probably one of the most important tools that communities are using all over the state. I mentioned it a few months ago, that the big chemical industries that are locating in southwest Louisiana today, those multi-billion-dollar projects, every one of those are using this development agreement tool to form relationships with the community, to make sure the infrastructure is right, to make sure the requirements are being met, make sure people are being heard, and make sure all the impacts are being mitigated. We pulled that tool out of our 2006 subdivision regulations with our master plan, with our new code, and we used it to, I believe, bring this project further than it's ever been brought before, and I would classify it as a success to date. And I think history will show that, that we had the right tools, the right decision-making process, the right involvement from citizens to deal with little small projects, whether it's a variance for a generator in your backyard or a huge multi-million-dollar profit project that's going to impact the city for decades, like the redevelopment of Colonial. So, you know, that, I just wanted to give that overview. I think the city is in a great position in terms of planning and zoning and the tools to lead it through complicated and even simple development decisions that this council and future councils will have to deal with. So be happy to answer any questions for you guys. All right.
Thank you
so
again.
much, Steve.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Can we call up Ms. Judy Johnson? Judy, tell the people what you do for the city.
I take the minutes for the council, for the zoning board, and the appeals board.
And you type them up?
I type them, I take it home, I go through everything I have done, I listen to the tape again, so I get to see y'all twice.
Oh, exciting.
Uh-huh. And then I email them to the clerk.
Okay, and once she emails it to the clerk, we will disseminate them to any citizen. All you gotta do is ask.
Okay?
Thank you, Judy. So if you need any of the planning and zoning minutes or any of the council minutes, call us up.
Well, sometimes we don't have planning and zoning, so we don't have minutes.
Yeah. We're almost done. Regulatory, this year, we've issued 2,606 licenses. General licenses. We've issued 489 occupational licenses, 490 regulatory licenses, and 368 permits. You want to give your, oh, never mind, it's not here. Okay, let's go to address the council. Anyone wish to address the council? Welcome to do so.
A little 5-minute break. Can I use your phone? Yeah, I'm dead. I was going to tell my wife. I told him
Dale Seminole, 140 McHugh.
short meeting. Be home early.
I'm just here to speak very briefly about the upcoming St. Rita Pecan Festival. The pastor of St. Rita, Father John Aroni, and the principal, Mrs. Miriam Daniel, and the Pecan Festival Planning Committee would like to invite everyone to the 22nd Annual St. Rita Pecan Festival to be held on Friday, November 7th, Saturday, November 8th, and Sunday, November 9th. Again, this year, there will be fun activities for the entire family, little kids, big kids, and adults. The music lineup for this year, Friday night, will be Top Cats, Saturday night, The Bag of Donuts, and Sunday night, Groovy 7. There will be a wide variety of food offerings highlighted by specialty food items from local restaurants. And again, this year, we will have our mayor making his very good muffaladas Saturday and Sunday. Is that correct, Mayor?
Correct. Win, lose, or draw the election, I'll be there.
And backed by popular demand, we'll have our spaghetti dinner on Sunday. And I do want to say, on the spaghetti dinner, the meatballs are homemade, and the sauce is homemade, and it's always very close to being sold out. Another highlight at the festival is a pecan shack that will be selling all types of pecan desserts, pecan T-shirts, the St. Rita cookbook, and much more. And there will be an area for kids with many fun activities. And there will be a fair mascot, Pecan the Pecan. And there'll be, the mascot will be greeting the kids and taking pictures. As always, there's a large assortment of fun amusement rides. And come and have a tailgate party because there will be a large Jumbotron TV screen to view the LSU and Saints games. And during the games, there will be special food and drink specials during the games. There's so much more that's going to be there. So for complete up-to-date information, the festival has a Facebook page, and also there is a website with complete up-to-date information, www.St. Rita, that's S-T, St. Rita, pecanfestival.com. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman, thank you for your time. I'd like to tell all the people in Harahan, thank you for allowing me to run for city council and to have the opportunity to meet and greet and spend the time necessary for me to become an active member of this community. I'm not going to take any time. We got a lot of people to speak yet, and it's already gotten late. So please make sure you take very good care of your children and have a very safe and happy Halloween. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mayor, Chief, Pat McDaniel, just wanted to introduce myself again. I'm in the race for City Council. I wanted to thank the citizens, my neighbors, friends. While walking the neighbors, everybody's been so kind to myself and my family while I'm handing out my push cards. If anybody would like to get in touch with me, my cell phone, 616-4448, or electpatmcdaniel.harahan@gmail.com. I look forward to seeing the ones who I haven't so far. Please call me to answer any questions. Thank y'all. Have a blessed night.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, citizens of Harahan. My name's Craig Johnston. I'm a candidate for Harahan Council. Been out knocking the doors. Still am knocking the doors. Getting a lot of good feedback. Appreciate everybody talking to me. Hoping to get in. Please get out and support me. Vote for me November 4th. Number 135. Again, Craig Johnston. Thank you.
Mayor, Council, thank you. My name is Alan Boudreau, and I want to thank the citizens of Harahan allowing me and my other candidates to the pleasure and the freedom to walk onto their property and put our literature on their doors. It's a very, very kind thing for them to do. I also want to thank all of my contributors who've given me the opportunity for this experience, and I also want to thank the support of my wife. So vote for me, go vote, Boudreau. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Mosca and council members, and also the citizens of Harahan. My name is Monique LaFontaine. I am running for judge of First Parish Court, Division B. We are in the home stretch towards the November 4th primary, and I need your vote and your support to help cross that finish line. I won't belabor my speech with all of my qualifications and such. You can find that on my webpage, and I'd be happy to discuss them with you personally if you'd like. But let me say this. I have a lot of life left in me as a lawyer, and I am ready to devote that to you and the residents of Jefferson Parish. I will be a fair and impartial judge, and I will be beholden to no one except for you, the voter. So I would appreciate your support and your vote on November 4th. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Carrie Wheeler, also another candidate for the Harahan City Council.
Just want to thank everyone for their support and kind words I have received and hope that I continue to receive. Again, if elected, I look forward to working with the new mayor and the new council and moving Harahan in a more efficient direction. Just a reminder, early voting starts October 21st and runs through October 28th. And again, the primary is on Tuesday, November 4th. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilman. And my name is Janet Verheide, and I'm here on behalf of my son-in-law, Brian Kiko Whittle, who was called out again out of town on business. He sends his regrets for his absence and would like me to share some of his goals and reiterate some of his goals for the great city of Harahan and for the people who reside in it. Harahan has a ripe business environment, but not everyone is on the same page with growth opportunities. What we need to do to fulfill these opportunities is to have transparency with the budget so everyone, including our citizens, can see where we are financially. Accountability is key as our team moves forward. Brian would also like to see quarterly goals put into place to make sure we are moving forward in our growth as a community and not just giving lip service. Goals help us stay accountable for ourselves and the promises that we give the citizens of Harahan. Brian would also like to set up a reserve fund, which I did hear about tonight, to accommodate any emergencies that may arise, and this fund would be available for all to see. Great ideas come from great people that are put in place to make things happen. That's what Harahan needs. Brian Whittle is what Harahan needs. Our city council needs to work together in order to help our city grow and prosper. Teamwork and unity are keys to running this great city, and teamwork is very important to Brian. And as everyone knows, Brian is a longtime resident of Harahan for 46 years, 18 years of those married to Tracy. They have 3 children and have chosen to raise them here with no regrets. He is a lead man with energy in charge of crew planning, training, and budget of jobs. Brian knows that he can humbly bring all these issues to the table while bringing results to the city. The opportunities we have in Harahan are unlimited, and with Brian as one of your next city councilmen, he will strive to deliver. Thank you for your time this evening, and I ask for your vote for my son-in-law, Brian Kiko Whittle, number 140. We also look forward to seeing all of you at the Harahan Athletic Association's 3rd Annual Jambalaya Cook-Off. And you can reach Brian at 504-738-5953. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, residents. We have sat here for 2 hours waiting for city business to be discussed. But instead, we have listened to a commercial for the members that are sitting here on the taxpayer dime. This is what Harahan citizens are tired of and fed up with. You won't get that with me. I hope you vote for me, and this kind of display won't happen. Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm Susan Benton. I'm also running for a seat on the City Council. Thank you all for being here tonight, and thank the viewers for being so kind to me as I walk the streets. I just want to say also that I'm a little bit confused because I thought we had to change the zoning on Colonial because the city was broke. I think several of you expressed that to me. I think Mr. Mosca was quoted in the paper as saying that if the city wanted to have the right services, the citizens were going to have to pay for it, or we were going to have to get increased tax dollars. That might not be exactly right, but it's close. And tonight, we've been told that everything's fine with our budget. So I'm just a little bit confused, and I hope that the citizens out there will view what happened here tonight and take it with a grain of salt. Thank you.
Got to bring it down for me. Mayor, this is for the mayor and the council. I am not running for office, thank you. At the last meeting, I brought up many deficiencies and questionable terms in the agreement with JW Colonial, which the council adopted without changing anything. Instead, I was attacked and told to get the facts. Well, I have a few facts for you. I've lived in Harahan since 1952, and during that time, I have dedicated many, many volunteer hours to this city, including attending all but about 6 council meetings since 1971, a total that exceeds the amount that this entire council has attended. I have always fought for what is good for Harahan, not for what the politicians wanted. I have had tires slashed while attending a council meeting, a 10-pound chunk of concrete thrown through the windshield of my car, and my house has been egged. I received obscene phone calls at all hours of the night, and my phone was tapped at one time. But I still fight for what is right. I also ran for councilman, Mr. Baudier, but I didn't have the money to finance a winning campaign. So being attacked is nothing new. But the citizens have a right to know that how their city is being governed. Mr. Baudier and Mr. Chatelain both own businesses. They both tout businesses for Harahan. But Mr. Baudier's is located in Elmwood, and all 3 of Mr. Chatelain's businesses are located on Colonial Club Drive, which is zoned R1. There are many empty commercial spaces in Harahan and a slew of empty lots that are zoned commercial, including the newly rezoned C1 property along Hickory. But now that the council has changed C1 to have no maximum square footage except what they see fit to give them, what are your plans for them? Burger King has been empty and an eyesore for umpteen years. Since parking is nearly non-existent for many businesses and semis have to block Hickory to unload, what business would want to locate in Harahan? The disgraceful appearance of some of the businesses in Harahan is enough to make others look for new venues. As to the annexation of additional property, the truck stop casino revenues were touted to bring in millions to the city coffers, but that hasn't happened either. As for grocery stores, we've had many: Favolora's, Crescione's, Catalana's, Winn-Dixie, and even a Bromart, even though it was outside the city limits. They all left, and Whole Foods conducted a survey that said it was not financially feasible to locate here. Do you really think another super grocery will be able to sustain itself when so many others couldn't? And Mayor Mosca, you brought up the fact tonight and at the last meeting that I work for the city. But I never realized that you felt that receiving that check was supposed to silence me at these meetings. As for being a hater, as you call people who don't agree with you, I don't hate anybody. But as a citizen of this city, I take that responsibility seriously. I work for the good of Harahan and its citizens, and when I think something is wrong, I will stand up here and tell you so.
Anybody want to say anything? Who's running for office? Dana? Well, I'll address the council as a candidate. My office is very transparent. When you open the front door, I'm the first person you see. You can come in and ask me for anything you want. People are going around, in my opinion, falsifying what I'm about. Basically, I have a website, and I believe I have 85% of the city on the website. The other 15%, you're welcome to get through documents. We have an open door policy, a record policy. We're very transparent. If anyone wishes to ask me anything, they can call my cell phone, 883-1969. I've invited, and if I haven't, I apologize, but I think I've invited all the candidates to come into City Hall and get a realistic approach of the day-to-day activities. To correct Ms. Johnson, I at no time tried to silence her in any way, shape, or form. I'm sorry? And I've no way tried to silence her, and I've always respected her, given her the utmost dignity and respect, and tried to accommodate her whenever she wants. She is an employee of the city. She works at my, it was my decision to let her work for the city, and I'm happy she is working for the city. But I don't know why she would want to tell me I tried to stifle her communications to the community, which I don't believe I've ever done. This campaign has a lot of information falsely generated. And for example, people are saying that the next group or certain incumbents want to see a casino on the golf course. It's an absurd position. People are saying that we have too many workers at City Hall. I mean, I wish they would come to City Hall and you know, look at the work that's being produced here. We're trying to be productive to our citizens. And I am offended by those who say that I did something illegal. I know one candidate had put in her literature that I did something illegal, but she didn't put who was paid for by. Now, if you look at the Code of Governmental Ethics, they have a penalty for that, which is up to a fine and 6 months in jail. You know, there's certain requirements that people should abide by when they run for office, and if they're unaware of them, then they need to seek counsel to try and understand what these regulations are. But to put in a document that you did something illegal, to me is saying, you know, what did I do that was illegal? I mean, please come forth and, you know, turn me into the government, do something. But be that as it may, I'm blessed to have citizens in Harahan who know me, know that I'm an intelligent leader, that I'm user-friendly, that I respect the decency of other citizens, that I'm a person who turns the other cheek, and I'm a good listener, and I want to remain involved in the city of Harahan, which is my home, and I'm optimistic that those people who I have touched since I've been an elected official will remember me. That's what I'm counting on. Those that I have touched in a positive way, I'm relying upon you to elect me as councilman again in Harahan. Thank you.
I've been a councilman for the past 6 years. I have maybe missed 3 council meetings in the past 8 years. I don't know how much more transparent we can be by giving out our cell phone numbers, telling you where we live, pretty much knowing everything about our lives. I know I've been very fortunate because my tires haven't been slashed, my house hasn't been egged, and I haven't had bricks thrown through my window, so I feel like I'm doing a really good job for the city. When Colonial first came up, of course, Colonial happened way before, maybe before I was even born, but Colonial came up, and everybody thinks that I'm so pro C1, and I am pro business for this community because I think we can, you know, bring Harahan into the future and fix the other stuff without having to borrow money constantly. However, when Colonial came up, and this bears repeating, and I've said it at the last council meeting, they wanted to put high rises in the back, and they were never going to develop Colonial, and I was for that program. And I supported it wholeheartedly, and oh my goodness, was I chastised. And just, I mean, on NOLA.com, I was a drug dealer, a dirty cop, a rich daddy. I mean, they just did not stop. So the program failed. And Mr. Lou Larcella took his money. Again, Lou Larcella, who owns pretty much all of Elmwood, took his ball and went and played someplace else. Again, Tony Manzella came along. We were going to work with Tony Manzella to give him the 15 front to develop. And Colonial was never going to be developed, back behind the front 15. Never be developed. Perpetuity, never. And again, I supported that plan. Now we have Mr. Georges. Now I still think Harahan has a very unique position where we can really play give and take with Mr. Georges. And the ultimate goal, again, is to never have the middle developed. And we've been working with conservation groups. He's been working with pretty much every politician he could even think of to try to get some kind of conservation group or conserve that land back there. And I think this is how Harahan should be. It should be give and take. It should be never these attacks. This has been a tough campaign. You literally have to watch every single word you say because somebody will twist it, hang on it, next thing you know, on NOLA.com again. But again, I do feel like I've done a wonderful job the past 6 years here I've been here. I'd like to be here and serve you for 4 more. I'd like to help this city move forward. And again, I think I've done a great job at that as well by helping bring business and film here. I've been on the council with Mr. Johnson when we annexed the truck stop. I've been here with the mayor when we've all worked hard to get the little area developed where Pacino's and Fairchild's is, and now Coretta's. We work very hard to promote business here. And the reason why my business is not in the city is because it's an industrial business, and it does not fit the decor of Harahan. And I would not try to bring a business into Harahan that did not fit its decor. Vote for me, please, number 130, if you think I've done a good job, and thank you.
Shelley?
Yes, I do own 3 businesses. I chose to register my businesses in Harahan. I do not keep equipment at my house. I have a storage building in Elmwood where I keep my equipment. I chose to pay taxes in Harahan by registering my business in Harahan and Jefferson Parish. I pay both taxes. I feel the city needs the tax money and the parish needs the tax money. That was a choice I made. That's my money. That's what I chose to do with it. I do live at 700 Colonial Club Drive. I feel I'm very successful. For someone to get up here and criticize me on where I have my business and how I spend my money is foolish. I do attend council meetings. I missed 1 council meeting while I was on the council. I do feel we pay someone to come in and do minutes, an amount of money a month, and then when we don't have a planning and zoning meeting, they don't do minutes for the meetings. I also feel for someone to come in and ask for public records request on invoices from Chatelaine Services, Chatelaine LLC, Chatelaine Brothers, and a whole list of other name companies that I don't own, that they think I would do that much work and charge the city for it is foolish. I'm a lot smarter than you think. The work I do in the city is free. So that must be foolish on my part, but I appreciate helping out the citizens of Harahan. I appreciate helping out the city. Thank you.
Motion by Hewitt, second by Bode to dispense with the reading of the council minutes of September 18th. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? 4 yeas, no nays, 1 absence. Motion by Landry, second by Chatelain to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Yay.
4 yeas, no nays, 1 absence. Communications, the appeals board did not meet, zoning board did not meet. Resolutions, Madam Clerk.
All right. The following resolution was offered by Councilman. Who would like to offer?
Like unanimous or something?
Yeah, you want to do some unanimous?
We can do
Well, we can't
unanimous,
do this,
yeah,
it's not-
yeah.
I'll take it.
Bodier. A resolution by the City of Harahan expressing the support of Constitutional Amendment 3 and Constitutional Amendment 10 of the regular session of the Louisiana Legislature. Constitutional amendments to assist municipalities in the fight against blighted property. Whereas the City of Harahan relies on various sources of revenue to fund services to its citizens, including an annual property tax millage assessed to owners of real property located within the municipal limits. And whereas the sale of adjudicated property and other aspects of a tax sale is a very complicated process in which many municipalities do not have the staff nor the necessary resources to ensure the compliance or the requirements to ensure the constitutional protections of the property owners and the public entity. And whereas currently over 40 public bodies have opted to use cooperative endeavor agreements with private third parties to assist in the tax sale process. And whereas on January 28, 2014, Louisiana State Supreme Court in the matter of Jackson v. City of New Orleans, January 28, 2014, which in summary stated the City of New Orleans ordinance authorizing a cooperative endeavor agreement with a third party was unconstitutional based on the provisions of Article 7, Section 25 of the Louisiana Constitution to provide that only the tax collector or their employees may perform the functions of a tax sale. And whereas a decision in Jackson v. City of New Orleans could jeopardize existing cooperative endeavor agreements, and in response to the decision, the Louisiana Municipal Association supported House Bill 488 by Representative Johnny Berthelot, which seeks to clarify that public bodies have the authority under the Louisiana State Constitution should the body opt to enter into such a contract. And whereas the ability to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with the third party for the purposes of assisting municipalities with the tax sale process has many positive aspects, including the ability to protect the constitutional rights of the property owners, create a more efficient and less costly process for the local governments, and also to ensure that property owners fulfill their obligations as taxpayers. And whereas on June 23, 2014, House Bill 488 became Act 871 and will be placed on the November 4th election ballot as Constitutional Amendment 3 for the voters of the state of Louisiana to consider whether an authorized agent of a tax collector can assist in the sales tax process, and any fees charged may be included in the cost. And whereas on June 26, 2013, House Bill 256 became Act 436 of the 2013 regular session of the Louisiana Legislature, a measure in which the Louisiana Municipal Association gave its full support and will appear on the November 4th, 2014 election ballot as Constitutional Amendment 10. And whereas Act 436 seeks to provide for an 18-month redemption period in any parish other than Orleans for vacant property sold at a tax sale which is considered blighted or abandoned. Now therefore be it resolved by the Harahan City Council, acting as governing authority of said city, that Section 1, the City of Harahan supports the passage of both Constitutional Amendment 3 and Constitutional Amendment 10 on November 4, 2014, as both constitutional amendments will provide valuable tools for municipalities and parishes to address the blighted property issues throughout the state in order to protect the health, safety, and welfare of their citizens. The foregoing resolution having been submitted to a vote, the vote thereon was as follows.
Any discussion? Well, so motion by Landry, second by Shadley, to open up for a public hearing. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? 4 yeas, no nays, 1 absence. Motion by Shadley, second by Bodie, to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? 4 yeas, no nays, 1 absence. No discussion. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? 4 yeas, no nays. Just read the title to the next
Yeah, I
one.
was going to ask if we have to do the whole one.
Yeah,
I was just going to
thank
ask if we
you.
had to do it.
Yeah, just with a resolution, you can do that.
Sounds good. The following resolution was offered by councilmen. Who would like to offer this one?
I'll take it.
Landry. A resolution authorizing the administration to accept the municipal water pollution prevention environmental audit report for the period of August 1st, 2012 to July 31st, 2013, and to inform the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality that the following actions were taken and additional actions will be taken by the City Council.
Motion.
by Bodie, second by Hewitt. No, we don't need a public hearing today. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? 4 yeas, no nays, 1 absence.
This one, I have to read
that's
this
for
one
approval.
completely. My
You
hair
can
blows.
just
That's the
read
first
title.
reading.
This is for
Oh, it's for
approval.
approval. Oh,
This
yeah.
is, I have to, with the taxes. The following ordinance was offered unanimously by the council. It was off, last month. An
Oh.
ordinance, huh?
The
An
first reading
ordinance
was offered.
levying a tax of 13.87 mils on each dollar of
This
assessed,
is, she's not here.
but we
But we did the first
unanimously
reading.
for first reading.
We did it on first reading.
Okay, all right.
Okay. An ordinance levying a tax of 13.87 mils on each dollar of assessed valuation on all taxable properties in the city of Harahan for the year 2014, and authorizing the tax collector to collect the said taxes on all the taxable property within the incorporated limits of the city of Harahan, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. Be it ordained by the Council of the City of Harahan, Parish of Jefferson, State of Louisiana, in a public meeting held on October 16, 2014, which meeting was conducted in accordance with the open meetings law and the additional requirements of the Louisiana Constitution and revised statute 47-1705B, that there is hereby levied a tax of 13.87 mils on each dollar of assessed valuation on all taxable property in the city of Harahan for the year 2014. Be it further ordained by the Council of the City of Harahan, acting as the governing authority of said city, and the Sewerage District Number 1 of the City of Harahan, State of Louisiana, that the following ad valorem tax be hereby levied on all taxable property in the City of Harahan, State of Louisiana. 2014 levy, total 13.87. Be it further ordained by the Council of the City of Harahan that the tax collector of the City of Harahan is hereby authorized to extend said taxes on the assessment rolls of the City of Harahan for the year 2014, and she is further authorized to collect said tax on all property within the incorporated limits of the city of Harahan. Be it further ordained by the council of the city of Harahan that when any taxpayer fails to pay the tax or any portion thereof on or before the day when it is required to be paid, interest at the rate of 1% per month shall be added to the amount of the tax due, and such interest shall be computed from January 1, 2015 until the tax is paid. The interest provided for herein shall be an obligation to be collected and accounted for in the same manner as if it were part of the tax due, and can be enforced in a separate action or in the same action for collection of the tax. The severability and repeal clause as referenced in ordinance number 1566 is incorporated into this ordinance. This ordinance having been considered section by section and as a whole, a vote was taken, and the vote was as follows.
All right, motion by Hewitt, second by Landry, to open for a public hearing, all in favor?
Yay.
Any
Yay.
opposed? 4 yeas, no nays. Motion by Hewitt, second by Landry, close the public hearing, all in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? 4 yeas, no nays. It passes. I gotta sign
Let me get it for you.
that. Next,
All right, we'll do that later.
no introduction, no old business, new business. The jambalaya cook-off, is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion.
Motion by Landry, second by Hewitt, all in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
Any opposed? All right. Then permission for the wedding, is there a motion?
Motion.
Chief, you heard about this? The wedding.
Mike
Rick's
Ricks.
Colonial.
on Colonial Club Drive.
I think he wants to shut it down for like 15 minutes or something.
No, 5:15 to 10 p.m.
They
Michael
want to
Ricks.
close the street.
He only wants to close his
You're right.
street
Please
for 45.
detail.
45
All in
minutes.
favor?
45.
You're right.
But
you're
the
right.
party's gonna be
There'll be
till
3
10.
officers, one on closing Jefferson Highway at Colonial, closing River Road at Oak, okay? And then one at the wedding itself.
All right, all in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed?
Same
4
thing,
yeas,
work with the
no
residents,
nays.
get them home.
Next, we got the Jandusa permission to hold the first annual Meet Your Neighbors Party. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
That's on Malvern.
Talking about this today, they're gonna need a detail.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Close the street off. They were-
Um,
I'm finding out today about this.
They are aware, I know they were told, they need a detail.
All in favor?
Well, any block party, right, Chief? Even if it wasn't, even if they wasn't blocking a street off, they would need a detail for a block party, wouldn't they? Okay.
We will verify that, but yes.
All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
Any opposed? 4 yeas, no nays. Then they got the Dickey's Barbecue. That's all right, Chief? All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
Any opposed? 4 yeas, no nays. Then we have an add-on, motion by Hewitt, second by Bodieta.
Oh, for
And then
St.
the
Rita.
rules to add the St. Rita procession. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
Any opposed? 4 yeas, no nays. Let's vote on the procession. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
Any opposed? 4 yeas, no nays. Anybody want to address the council? Secretary's report.
September revenues, $231,596.18.
Pay bills.
Bills paid in September.
I noticed that
Took in more than we spent.
we have $2.10 more in revenue than we do in bills.
I noticed that today, too.
Thank God.
231,594.41.
Put that in the bank, chief.
It's pretty good.
All right, reports. Councilman Levy?
I'm good.
You don't have no party or anything?
No, but the Pecan
St.
Festival, and
Rita
Mr.
or
Civito
what?
took care of that. Pecan Festival, Mr. Civito took care of that.
Of course, y'all know, I'm running for mayor. Appreciate y'all's support. Any questions, any concerns, give me a call. My cell number's 416-7807. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Councilman Boudier?
Tim Bodier, running for council, ballot number 130. My cell's 504-343-7762. Please call me.
Councilman Hewitt?
I will try not to be too long because I know it's late.
your
But after watching this evening's meeting and some of the things that were discussed, a few things come to mind. First of all, I've always heard if you don't talk about all the good things you're doing, no one knows about them because most people hang on the negative. Unfortunately, it's just human nature. So what I believe the mayor was trying to do this evening is to show all the positive things that we're doing for the city and that he's doing for the city. We're not elected officials to sit here on Thursday evenings and walk the city of Harahan and take phone calls from citizens because we don't love the city and we want to do the right thing. We do it for the good reasons. Other comments made tonight bring other thoughts to my mind of, don't judge people until you've walked in their shoes, or don't throw stones. We're all sitting here because we chose to live here, we chose to raise our families here, and we love the city. We wouldn't want to hurt it. We do our homework, we do our due diligence, we ask questions. So for folks to make comments or mislead people in the city that we're doing the wrong thing is offensive. I am here to serve the city. I've enjoyed the last 4 years working with my fellow councilman and mayor. I look forward to the next 4 years. The election is Tuesday, November 4th. I hope I have your support. I would love to work with the new council with good, positive people who want to move the city forward. Thank you.
A lot of candidates are walking around saying that my administration is not transparent. I want to tell you right now that I'm going to go to confession Saturday, 3 o'clock, and you're all welcome to come hear it. With Father, probably do it, Father Joe or Frank or one of them. John. That's my confession.
He
You're
doesn't go to
welcome to hear
church.
it. I want to be transparent. Second thing is Halloween. Halloween is Halloween. And as the chief said, we're going to be on alert this Halloween, watch the traffic, protect the citizens. I'm sure Imperial Woods will be lit up like a candle for Halloween, and I understand that they're even trying to negotiate with St. Rita to charge people to park there, but we'll see what happens. But of course, Halloween is Halloween, and I'll be at my home greeting anyone that wants to stop by. Even the people that, for whatever reason, don't like me. Stop by. Madam Clerk, what else we got?
Now, police report.
That's it. Oh, I'm sorry. I told you to give you a report in the front.
All right, Chief, let's roll. Mayor, council, viewing public, this is the police report for the month of September 2014. Number of calls for service was 670. Number of accidents reported were 12. Number of citations issued, 127. Number of charges, 179. We had 12 patrol requests. Number of arrests, 70. Total number of charges, 121. 23 for traffic, 18 felonies, 61 misdemeanors, and 19 city charges. Crimes, we had 1 rape, 1 residential burglary, 1 non-residential burglary, 7 larceny thefts, and 15 assaults. Again, please walk it. Appreciate it. Good
Chief,
night. Yeah.
was it an isolated incident with the major crime there?
Yes, it was.
You don't have anybody roaming the streets then?
No, it's not a problem with somebody roaming the streets.
Thank you.
And a person has been arrested.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
By Bodier, second by Hewitt, all in favor? Yea. Any opposed, 4 yeas, no nays.